tips.
Do I
said
think this
that
will have
months
any
ago.
noticeable effect on Trump's
by the way,
numbers?
they
Positive or
actually
negative?
got
Negative.
a tax
Negative
on
is
tips,
negative.
but they
No
hired
positives.
88,000
Normal
IRS
people are
agents,
not on Twitter
and
chat.
many of waste
Most
this
people are
is
just going to talk about how
they
it
have a
failed
policy. They had a
spectacularly.
policy that they were
Elon
really
Musk has
gonna
already
go after
murdered
you.
2 campaigns. He's
We're
about to
really
murder his
arresting
3rd. I'm saying it. Oh, the Spaces is up already? Oh my God. Oh my God. It's starting. I'm in early. I'm requesting to speak. Hello. Hello. Too many requests have been spent. It's already breaking. It's already breaking. Oh, it's gonna break. Oh, if it bricks, I'm bricked up. I'm bricked up in anticipation of this bricking. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, I can't wait, dude. This is fire. Wait, is it audio only? Oh my God, it's gonna be audio only. Oh my God, I forgot they don't have. Oh my God, I forgot there's no visual. Oh my God. Oh, he's so bad. Oh, this is so sad, dude. Oh, this is so sad. Holy shit. I requested to speak. It won't let me. Too many requests to speak have been sent. Please try again later. Who the fuck is Nabil Abi? Bro, stealing my steez, dude. For the record, we can't even gamble for the crash because it's already crashing. It keeps going in between, in and out of details not available. You guys remember the DeSantis announcement? That shit was so awesome. In all seriousness, content aside, can we talk about the fact that the owner of the website with 200 million followers is allowing for this basically paid campaign stump event, but not Kamala's campaign? Wait, what do you mean? If you asked Elon, I'm sure he would say, yes, I would love to speak to Kamala Harris. As long as he says that, and it's going to be contentious anyway, and Kamala Harris is not going to do it anyway, it doesn't matter. You have to remember this. What Elon Musk is doing right here, by the way, is not that dissimilar from like Rupert Murdoch owning Fox News, right? Like the entire franchise, and so many other right-wing outlets as well. Like billionaires have owned media operations, media empires in perpetuity. Elon Musk is just like trying to do it with Twitter and not doing a good job with it. You know what I mean? Especially because like Elon Musk is one, too online for his own good, and two, is I guess like too ultra capitalist for his own good, where he's like running the company into the ground. I'm gonna reply to him. I'm gonna say, sir, I've requested to speak on behalf of red-blooded, patriotic Americans, but the Elon Musk website won't let me. Insane they never learn from Ron DeSantis. Team Trump, this is the biggest interview in history, and now we're asking you to make the President Trump's biggest fundraising day ever. Before this interview is over, we're calling on, what is this? We're calling on 10 million patrons to donate any amount and proudly say, I stand with Trump. Desperate. So desperate. Can I ask a dumb question? No such thing. No such thing as a dumb question, my friend. We are living in the dumbest of times. We are living in the best of times. We are living in the worst of times. But most importantly, we're living in the dumbest of times. How is this good for the Trump campaign? Any undecided voters are going to see this as a right-wing freak interviewing glazing Trump and not help swing their vote. I think that a lot of dumb people still think Elon Musk is awesome. I'll say that much. A lot less people now think Elon Musk is awesome, but there's still plenty of dumb people because the media for years and years glazed him as like a genius and a brilliant boy. So there's definitely still a lot of like average Joes that probably think that, you know, Elon Musk is cool. I've never been one of those guys. I've been a hater. I've been a hater of Elon for for some time out. Oh yeah, biggest failure I've ever seen. Oh my God. They're so bad. They're hot miking. They're hot miking. You could not have written a better, more poetic situation. Oh my God, Donald Trump is going to Elon Musk after this, okay? Let's get down to it. Let's talk about Rhonda Stinky. We're back to the news. Little Rhonda announcing his campaign in like an hour, actually. We're going to be tuning into that when that happens. I like that Donald Trump's only competition is like, or at least the people, the person they're propping up as Donald Trump's only competition is 30 points away from him and is basically another cookie cutter carbon cutout of Donald Trump, but just... Elon Musk is awesome, though. He literally built rockets and dodge the top of the hour ads with a Twitch Prime subscription. Please stop promoting misinformation. Are you kidding me? You took advantage of my excitement for extra content, okay, that I did not even ask for, that I could not have even imagined. Extra content that has basically started already. The space is already breaking. It's already bricked. It cuts in and out. It says details not available over and over again. I am worried about refreshing this page. And it still says 44,000 in the space when we know there's probably more people in this space. And you f***ed me. You f***ed me so hard. Okay? Are you getting on the Trump must bingo? They're going to talk about trans people for sure. What the fuck are we listening to? We're listening to the sweet melodic beats of Donald Trump's failure of a campaign. I'm so stoked, dude. Thank you so much. I love the music. Old Trump ad. Oh yeah, remember the old Trump ad from the DeSantis space? Remember when he came out with that heater, dude?
George, can you just wait while we...
Hello? Can you hear me?
We can all hear you, George. Can you just hold on for a second?
Hilfa, I don't think they can hear me.
I can hear you fine, George. Just speak to the
I don't think George knows how to use Twitter.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Can I please make my big announcement now? Everyone just...
Hello?
Just shut up, George.
Can somebody just mute George?
Dick, could you try not to cough on the...
Okay, so how are we going to take out Trump, you guys?
Guys from the FBI, this is not a private call. This is a public Twitter space. Everyone can listen in.
God damn it.
The devil.
Anyway, guys, we invited everyone to this this Twitter space so Governor Ron DeSantis could...
Everyone just shut the hell up so I can make my announcement, okay?
You go, girl.
Wait, the devil is gay?
So what? Everyone in this call is gay. I happen to know every single one of you has a secret gay lover hidden in your closet.
Mein Führer, ich kann nicht zulassen, dass die Soldaten, die für Sie verbringen. Feiglinge!
Guys, can we please just calm down?
So anyway, guys, I just wanted to announce that I'm...
Okay, I can hear the governor very well.
Shut up,
Would you please shut up already? I'm running for president, okay?
Yeah, we kind of already knew about it.
Know, Governor.
Congratulations, Governor.
Well, that concludes our Twitter space for today. Thank you to all of our...
Hold your horses, Elon. The real president is going to say a few words.
Yeah.
The devil, I'm going to kick your ass very soon. Hitler, you're already dead. Dick Cheney sounds like you'll be joining Hitler very soon. Klaus Schwab and George Soros, I'm putting both your asses in jail.
Yeah.
And Ron DeSanctimonious can kiss my big, beautiful 2024 presidential ass. Trump 2024, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Remember that, dude? That shit was fire. That was a banger, dude. Now his fake ass is doing the same damn thing, not realizing. This music is so funny. Fake ass doing the same damn thing he rightfully ripped into. I'm only now getting more and more into politics, so forgive my ignorance. In regards to Kamala being a border czar, what exactly is the VP supposed to do to be better on immigration? Kamala Harris is cooked. The border situation was because the border czar thing was specifically because Joe Biden hated her. That's the only reason why she was border czar. And now it's coming back to haunt her because obviously as the border czar, she's not going to deviate away from the administration. Sorry for burping into the mic. I know that Sean Hannity would never do that. This is funny. We have an unwanted immigrant in this state. Please advise at Greg Abbott at Drake Drake is officially a resident of Texas. Deport. I told you the real border we needed to be worrying about was not the southern border. Only libtards worry about the southern border. Real American patriots know the real border to be worried about is the northern border, brother. Definitely don't refresh. It won't load for me at all. Yeah, I know. That's why I came in early. That's why I came in early, so I could serve the sweet, juicy top of the hour ad break to you ahead of time before the thing starts. Because in the next 3 minutes, you are not going to want to miss out a single moment, a single second of this delectable content. I was there up and early, baby. You already know at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, Miss Valerie Chaos, thank you for the 5-tier gift of subs. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Oh yeah, I forgot that chatter cooked me. Oh shit, my bad. My bad. I did get cooked earlier. I forgot. I got cooked so hard, it caused my brain to forget about it. Daniel Art, thank you for the 20 gifted, allowing 20 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Caked Up Bot, thank you for the 5 gifted. Here's the 3-minute ad break now, ladies and gentlemen. Twitch Prime is free. It's a free way. It's a free way to no longer see the ads at the top of the freaking hour. Insane Monster 69. Thank you for the 10 gifted. I think that there is a very high likelihood. Hasan 350Z, thank you for the 5-tier 1 gifted subs. I think it's a very high likelihood that this doesn't work at all, by the way. Like, I'm not kidding. There's gonna be a new space. Be ready for that. Yeah. Chaos 1391, thank you for the 10 gifted. Oh, Elon's in. Request sent. Too many requests. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a listener. What is
engage
this?
with this technology to help guide its development in a way that maximizes its benefits. While
Are you guys stupid? You think this is a real Tesla channel? Oh my God, people are so dumb. Bro, this is a crypto scam, you dingus. How are you this online to be on my broadcast and you still haven't realized that like most things that have Elon Musk on them, most live streams that have Elon Musk on them are crypto scams. 180,000 viewers are watching, by the way. Sucker born any minute, every minute. I know. Your community is full of 80-year-olds getting scammed by Nigerian prisons in 2024. I agree. If you had one chance to ask him a question, what would you ask him? So many questions, dude. That's hard. I've never been faced with a decision like that, so I don't even know. I'd say, do that ass be farting? Probably. I'd f it up. Does it grip? Yeah, maybe. What'd that ass do? It's like asking a genie for more wishes. Oh, it restarted. The music restarted. Do we have a Trump Elon bingo or not? Do we make one? We'll just do Gamba. You can gamble with your channel points by watching the channel. Weird mention. Elon sucks up the Trump. Weird trans or pronoun mention. Weird behavior. Trump doesn't answer the question. I like it. There is no way. By the way, right now, my space is, it's been steadily crashing since like for the past half hour that I've been in it. And there is absolutely no way that there's only 44,000 people in there. There's absolutely no way that there's only 100,000 people in there. There are probably so many people in there, but it is crashing. So we will perhaps never know what the real number is, which is hilarious. And I suspect that Donald Trump probably doesn't appreciate that it is also broken as well. Unable and crash is trending. Ain't working for anyone at the moment. Oh my God, I really hope that they don't like kick off a new call again. At least the other stuff on the website is still working. You can't access the Trump Elon interview through Twitter. The YouTube link people keep sharing as an alternative appears to be a crypto scam. Great work all around. Yeah. Does it strike people as odd? Does it strike people as odd that everyone that wants to do crypto scams so frequently end up using Elon Musk to do that? Something to consider. That's because his fans are bawling, or because they're stupid and infinitely more likely. Isn't it kind of anti-free speech that the host gets to control who speaks at all times? The COPA started already? Oh my God. Chris LaCivita, effectively one of Trump's 2 campaign managers, just posted on X trying to frame this as Trump breaking the internet. DeSantis tried to do this too. Oh, it's the same loser energy. Oh, that's so awesome. Twitter Spaces appears to be suffering a technical glitch before Trump's live conversation with Elon Musk. It's hard not to compare this to the last time Musk's platform was used for a major political moment when Governor Ron DeSantis tried to introduce his campaign on Twitter Spaces, but was met with interesting trending with bro, crashed, Elon, unable. I'm able to get on the space with my phone. The space said it has 117,000 listeners. No one has started speaking yet. The space for Donald Trump's event with Elon Musk is now live, but it appears it's glitching for users. Oh, I have this is another feed. Donald Trump's space, 222K in space. Also, by the way, what the f is this guy doing? You're Canadian, dog. You're Canadian. Stick to your own politics, all right? This America business, all right? How the f did he fail to ratio me? That's crazy. But yeah, the space now says 222K. There ain't no way this ever goes live. We are now officially 17 minutes in. We are officially 17 minutes in. What if Ken Carson just started playing? Just a thought, in my opinion. If Ken Carson just started playing, I would vote for Donald Trump. New York Times live feed. We are trying every way possible to access the stream. By phone, desktop, in the app, in the browser. And most of us reporters are having trouble getting it to work. We are most likely not the only ones. It appears crypto scammers on other streaming platforms have tried to take advantage of the confusion on X by creating fake streams mimicking Musk's voice to persuade people to buy cryptocurrency. Beautiful. Beautiful. Hey, New York Times reporters, tune into the Hasanabi broadcast. You can watch it here, okay? Hey, don't worry about it. I got you, baby. I'm so glad. I knew how unimaginably incompetent this dingus is. And I knew this shit was gonna crash. So I was like, at least I'll be in there 30 minutes prior before this shit starts. I clicked on it as soon as the link was available. Elon is posting and claiming it's a DDoS attack. Oh, hell nah. There appears to be a massive DDoS attack on X. Working on shutting it down. Worst case, we will proceed with a smaller number of live listeners and post the conversation later. Oh, hell nah. Oh, no, bro. How can you not foresee this? Isn't that trackable? People can verify this independently. Dog, it's not a massive direct denial of service attack. It's just that people are tuning in and your website is not capable of handling it. It's just people trying to get in, dumbass. But your website sucks. Oh no, dude. Or distributed denial of service, not direct, my bad. I'm not a nerd, shut up. And neither is Elon, despite the fact that he tries to appear as a nerd. He doesn't know shit. Remember in the aftermath of every single thing that I said about the Discord, every single thing that I said about the Ron DeSantis failure still remains in this circumstance. Remember, websites are completely capable, like normal websites are completely capable of handling this level of traffic, okay? Like eBay had 3.8 million live concurrent viewers, okay? YouTube does it on a daily basis. Kick was able to handle it because Twitch is their backend. They're using AWS on the backend. You cannot tell me that this is a competent human being running a real website, okay? I feel like at this point, Elon Musk is a secret Marxist operation to show as many people that is paying attention that billionaires are some of the most incompetent morons on the planet, and that he's also secretly trying to destroy every Republican, okay? It is crazy. He did this with Ron DeSantis and then didn't even, like, what did you do? Did you just pack it up and then never think about tweaking it? Donald J. Trump post from his Truth Social. It appears Elon Musk and Donald Trump interview on X is being overwhelmed with listeners logging in. The last information we have heard is the interview should begin in less than 20 minutes. Thank you. We tested the system with 8 million concurrent listeners earlier today. Breaking. Elon Musk says cyber attack on X derails Trump interview. Yeah, dude. Bro, this is a historic run that Trump is on. Look at this sequence of articles right now. Trump flew on a charter jet previously owned by Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? Trump in a fundraising email portrayed this live conversation with Elon Musk as an effort to bypass the mainstream media and take my message straight to the American people. But these technical problems are very clearly interfering with his ability to do so. Musk blamed a cyber attack known as Distributed Denial of Service Attack, or DDoS, for the glitches. DDoS attacks work by flooding servers with malicious traffic and knocking them offline. Worst case, we will proceed with a small number of live viewers and post the conversation later. The space is fluctuating wildly in the number of people who have joined. It currently sits at 200,000 listeners, even though no one is... Oh. Is he fapping? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. There is no way that this is how it starts. Oh my God. And he had to mute it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. He's jerking it. He's jerking his peanuts. He's jerking his peanuts. Huh. Where's the... That's it? No audio? That's it? No audio. No audio. He's just going to keep it muted. Do you think he thinks he's currently not muted? Elon is no longer in the Twitter space. He left the space. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, this is amazing. This is literally amazing. Holy shit. I can't believe it, dude. This is actually amazing. That's crazy. This is so perfect. Oh no, the Harris campaign is taunting Trump on his social media platform. Truth Social reposting the critical comments he made after DeSantis' campaign announcement was plagued by similar technical problems. That's the other part. It's loser shit. It's loser shit to do this. And Ron DeSantis did this loser shit. And Trump rightfully... Oh.
All right. Hello, everyone. My apologies for the late start. We unfortunately had a massive distributed denial of service attack against our servers and saturated all of our data lines. Like basically hundreds of gigabits of data were saturated. We think we've overcome most of that, and so it's now time to proceed.
You're such a bitch.
As this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, and but I'm honored to have this conversation. I want to emphasize it's a conversation, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. It's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way. And when there's an adversarial interview, like no one's themselves in an adversarial interview. And this is really aimed at kind of open-minded, independent voters who
they're all open-minded independent voters like Hitler, Groyper, 48.
So you can understand like what
and every blue check mark crypto
just
guy.
Like to have a conversation. So honored to Donald. Great to speak. We had a great conversation yesterday. As you mentioned yesterday, if we could just record that conversation and post it, it would have been excellent. And I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people. And it's an honor. We view that as an honor. And then you do want silencing of certain voices. Usually those are voices that have something to say that are constructive, oftentimes constructive. And
Yeah.
so we have to consider it an honor. But congratulations on
Why
breaking
does he
every
sound
record
like
in the
he's
book
eating?
tonight. That's great.
Well,
Is he
thank you.
eating?
Well, I mean, maybe we could start off with, I mean, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing. And I have to say that, you know, your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. You know, you, instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, you know, the president of the United States represents America. And I think that is America. That is strength under fire. And so that's, you know, a big, you know, part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as
It's such a dumb
the
idea not to
president
do
of the
this in
United
video
States
form.
for
I know.
having another term here is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for you?
Glazing.
Not pleasant. I have to
Not
be honest.
pleasant.
Glaze.
I said there was blood. I had
Being
more
shot is
blood.
not
I didn't
much
know I
fun.
had.
He's doing tricks on
much
it.
blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get
A
hit.
very bloody
But
place.
in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about because it went at the right angle, and you know, it was a hard hit. It was very, I guess you would say surreal, but it wasn't surreal. You know, I was telling somebody you have instances like this, or like a lot less than this, where you feel it's a surreal situation, and I never felt that way. I knew immediately that it was a bullet. I knew immediately that it was at the ear,
Yeah.
and because it, you know, it hit very hard, but hit the ear. And I also heard people shout, "Bullets, bullets!" You know, get down, because you know, I moved down pretty nicely, pretty quickly, and we had bullets flying right over my head after I went down. So I'm glad I went down. The bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter, and so it hit.
Boo, we don't
hit me at
care.
an
We
angle
forgot
that
about it,
was,
old man. Nobody cares.
far less destructive than any other angle. So that was the miracle. That was,
Yeah.
for those
Split
people that
second.
don't believe in God, I think we got to all start thinking about that. You have to, you know, I'm a believer now. I'm more of a believer, I think, and a lot of people have said that to me. A lot of great people have said that to me, actually. But it was amazing that I happened to be turned just at that perfect
Yeah.
angle, and all because I put down a chart on immigration that showed that the numbers were so great. I love that chart even
I mean,
more
maybe
now
it's a
that I was
sign.
in it.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's a sign, you know.
it's an immigration sign.
Yeah, we should get
highlighted
the
a
South
serious
African
issue,
immigrant out.
and
Yeah,
at that moment,
that's right.
the bullet missed your, you know, hit your ear, but you know, missed your head. I mean,
Well,
you know,
the amazing thing is that the sign, I said, bring down that sign on immigration, and it was literally about an eighth of a second where it would be good, and after that it was going to
yeah,
be a disaster, no matter which way you were facing. But it just had that perfect angle, which was
yeah,
exactly at this shooter. Very sad situation. Such a sad situation. As you know, we lost somebody that was great, Corey,
yeah,
who, a firefighter, a great gentleman, a great Trumper. He was just a fantastic family and a fantastic man.
I
And
think
a friend of
he
mine
sounds
came
like
up,
he has a lisp
Elon,
right
and
now
said, "I'd
because
like to
of
give
the audio
family
compression
some
issues,
kind of
probably.
help." And I
Which,
said,
I mean,
"That's
it
great."
doesn't
He
play
said, "Do you
well
mind?" I said, "I
to
don't
a guy
mind at
like
all."
Trump
And
who
he wrote
cares
out a
about the
check for $1
optics.
billion, gave it to the wife, and you know,
Yeah, see?
she said, "This is really nice,
Top end
but
is
I'd
fucked
rather
up
have my
because the audio
husband back,"
compression, it
which
does that
is
to
a
sibilance.
nice thing for
sure,
somebody to say, to be honest. She's great. The family is great, and we raised a lot of
yeah,
money for them and for two other gentlemen are unbelievable people. Also, they were hit really badly. They thought they were not going to make it, and they did. The doctors in the Butler area, I tell you, they were incredible. They saved the two, and they were really hit tough, both of them
yeah,
equally. And we thought
yeah.
my first question was because I heard bullets flying over me. I said, "How
Ask his
many people
name.
were killed?" 'Cause we had
Elon,
a
ask his
massive
name right
crowd,
now.
a
Ask
tremendous
what the firefighter's name is right
thousands and
now.
thousands of people, and there was no land. I mean,
You will be
there
a
was no
legend.
people.
If
So
he asked,
how many people
he
have
would
been
never do
killed?
it,
Because I
but
knew there were other shots being fired,
Sure.
and they said, "We
no,
don't know
not just
yet,
his first
but some
name.
people have been badly hurt."
Full
And
name.
I
Full
have to
name.
give the Secret Service sniper, they call him, or sharpshooter, but sniper,
Yeah,
because he didn't know there was a problem. He's an extraordinary shot, obviously, and he didn't know there was a problem. And he was able to pick it all out within 5 seconds. And he used one bullet from very far away, I guess probably about 400 yards. The shooter was 130, but he was on the.
It was pretty funny when he was like, "I'll never tell this story again. It's too emotional."
He saw the smoke and the flame from the gun.
That was one of my favorite gay Trump moments. When he gets like all like, "I will never tell this story again."
Shot from very far away, and if he didn't do that, Elon, he would have. I mean, if he would have, a lot more people could have been badly hurt and killed. So I have to take my hat off to him, because that's also a surreal. You know, he's been with them for 23 years, and he's never had anything like this. And all of a sudden he has to act, and it's a very tough thing to act and to be shooting somebody. But he saw the gun, saw the smoke, saw the flame from the gun. Very far away. Obviously has very good eyes. He's got very good vision, which I assume you have to have in that particular work. But he took aim very quickly, and they say it was approximately 5 seconds from long range, one bullet. If that didn't happen, because the shooter had a lot of bullets, he had a lot of cartridges up there with him. So
well,
could have been very.
I mean that's clearly he was very competent in taking that shot to stop the attempted assassination. But I mean, there does seem to be some pretty significant failings elsewhere in the system. Like, there's just no way that, like, how on earth does a shooter get on a roof 130 yards away? That seems crazy. I think most people people are wondering how on earth could such a thing happen.
Well, you know, I view it as two ways. There should have been nobody on the roof. There were people, because there were so many tens of thousands of people there. There were people that were seeing him, and there was one woman with a red shirt and Trump all over it, and she's screaming. That guy's got a gun. You know, you saw it probably. There's a guy up there with a gun.
I mean, it's like I guess, I mean, for my part, and I think probably many members of the public are wondering how the heck are, basically people wondering by pointing out there's a guy on the roof with a gun. And they're seeing it, but somehow it's not being addressed. That does seem crazy.
Well, they're going to learn from this. The communication between the local police, who sort of had an idea, and then ultimately a man lifted himself up to the roof, could barely do it because he was pulling himself up, and he saw the man with the gun. The man with the gun pointed the gun at him. He thought he was probably going to get shot, but he was like pulling himself up, and because of that, he couldn't get to his gun. And he fell down, actually very badly hurt his leg, his ankle. I hear very badly, but he fell down. And he did, from what I understand, he did say there's a guy up there with a gun.
Move on, bro. Move on.
The shooting started very quickly after that. I think it forced the shooter to go maybe quicker. He was supposed to be a very good shot.
Yeah.
My sons, Don and Eric, they can't believe what happened, but they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time. They said it's like in golf, sinking a 2-foot putt.
Yeah, it's not a tough shot.
It's not a long shot. The Secret Service person had the long shot.
I think one thing that people fail to consider is that Trump actually performs really well in adversarial interviews because he gets like bitchy. And when it's a glaze sesh, and I've listened to so many Trump glaze sessions with Sean Hannity where he sucks him, like he gives him that good suck. It's very boring.
You had so many.
It comes across as like a very boring, low energy back and forth.
When guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle. But everybody, and a lot of people get killed with those stampedes. We had more people than you'd have at some of these matches or these games, and nobody left. You had a small group behind us in the grandstand, and that was full. And you look at it as it was taking place, and normally they'd be running. They didn't leave. They saw that I was hurt. They saw a lot of blood, and they saw that I went down. and it's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had thousands, tens of thousands of people. As far as the eye could see, you had people in Butler, as far as the eye could see, and and a lot of press too. There was, many cameras on watching this. It's what makes it so different, because normally things happen that aren't good, but you never have a picture of it. Here we have all these cameras shooting it. So, sort of amazing. But one of the interesting things was that you didn't have anybody flee. You didn't have anybody stampede.
Sure.
Nobody. And there were some people behind me, they stood up and they're looking like, I mean, I'll tell you, you want to have them in a foxhole with you. I want to meet some of those people because it's so different from what you heard. But so I was down, but the Secret Service guys, there were bullets flying right over my head. You could hear them go whizzing. And these guys came jumping on top of me, and a young lady, Kate, would jump. They moved so fast. And
you won bingo.
let me tell you, that took tremendous courage. Now, there was a lack of coordination. There was, obviously everybody understands that somebody, that building should have been covered. And
I mean,
that was the
I think
big
that,
thing.
like, I mean, looking at the aerial views, that building would be like the #1 spot for a sniper. I mean, it's like if you were to pick, like, what is the favorite place, so if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building, the
You're
roof of
right.
that building would be #1.
That would have been the spot.
It's like you can ask for a better location. It's like
No,
#1.
that would have been the spot. You know what people think
Yeah.
is when the local policeman, who, by the way, he really he did what he was supposed to do. He couldn't hold on any longer, and then when he got his head just peeking above, this guy standing there with a gun at his head, and when he fell down again, hurt his ankle very badly. But he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon.
This is a good take on the dynamic. Elon wants Trump to say this was a conspiracy by the deep state or potentially like DEI and was allowed to happen, but that's not actually convenient for Trump. He wants people to think the killer was super skilled and survived nonetheless. He's defending the cop who got scared by the kid on the roof.
I mean,
But
he
as you
got
said,
me,
he
but it
would
could
have
have
hit.
been, could have been a much bigger problem.
But he totally would have hit if you hadn't turned your head. So, like, there was it was a very near thing.
It was a miracle. If I hadn't turned my head,
yeah,
I would not be talking to you right now. As much as I like you,
exactly.
I would not.
Yeah,
I would not be talking to you.
I mean, be talking to me from another realm, perhaps.
Yeah, that's right. We'd be talking from a different place. But it was a very terrible experience. The Butler Hospital, they did such a great job. The doctors were so good. Everybody was so good. There was a mistake. If somebody knew, because people were hearing that, there was just a bad feeling that somebody was around. You know that story now. It's been pretty well. And if somebody could have said, because they've oftentimes said, like there'd be a lightning storm or something, because I've done, I think, over 300. I think I did a lot more than that, but we did a lot. And oftentimes they'll say, sir, could you wait 10 minutes, please? Sir, could you wait 20 minutes? There's a storm overhead or lightning or something, right? And that happens often. And this would have been a perfect time for that to have happened, but it didn't get coordinated. That was the problem.
Well, it was your I think your actions in the heat of fire, and like what I found admirable there was that you can't fake bravery under such circumstances. The courage is instinctual or it is not. It's not a rehearsed action. And so I just want to say that I think a lot of people admire your courage under fire. And so
thank you very much. I appreciate it. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to get up. And I wanted to stand up. I wanted to let people know, I felt I was good when they were on top of me, covering me, actually, very much covering me and very bravely. But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up. And they wanted, they have everything there. They wanted stretcher. I didn't like the stretcher. And I knew I was hit in the ear, but I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else because it was such a lot of blood. And they were sure that I was hit someplace else. And they were saying, sir, you were hit more than the ear. I said, nope, I was hit in the ear. I want to get up. Let me get up. And so I got up, and the crowd didn't know what to think. I mean, this was so many people, and you could see they were confused. They didn't know what to think. I wanted to let them know I was okay. It was very important for me to let them know that. And they went wild. You've seen the after. They didn't go wild when I got up because they didn't know, was I alive? You really couldn't tell. When I stood up before the the fist in the air. They didn't know if I was alive. Nobody did. And when I put the fist up, they were just relieved and happy and
Let me get
thrilled,
my
and the
shoes.
place went crazy.
Oh my
It was
God, this is
pretty
what he
amazing.
looks
Yeah.
like right
It
now.
was a
Well,
terrible thing, but
it was
really nice.
incredibly moving. Yeah. Well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn
He's
that
so cute.
saved your life, really, was the illegal immigration
Right.
slide. Maybe this
That's right.
maybe this is worth talking about that,
It
since
was.
that slide saved
You're
your
right.
life,
No,
basically.
the illegal immigration saved my life. You're right, but it was. I
I
had to
know,
be at
that's
that
the
exact angle.
I mean, that's
Is
a
my
great one.
PFP on a screen?
Saved by illegal
You know,
immigration.
the
Wait.
incredible
100%.
thing, though, when you talk about the odds, you had to be exactly at that angle. But the
Yeah.
incredible thing is that
No.
the chart, I used it less than 20% of the time. It was just a moment.
Yeah.
It's always on my left, never my right, and it's always at the end of the speech.
I don't think so.
So here
Yeah.
we have it. It's on the right, not the left.
No,
It's
it's
at the
not.
beginning, not the end. And even the people that put it up, they were unprepared, and they did a great job. They got it up immediately,
It's not.
fortunately. But I looked to the right, and the bullet came whizzing by, hitting my ear. So it was amazing. But when you think of the odds of that, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you know that normally you wouldn't use it. Normally I wouldn't have the thing, and then it would
Yeah.
have been a very different story. It's very much, I I say, an act of God. It's a miracle that it happened, and I'm
Sure.
He
honored by
does.
it.
Trump has a
I'm
lisp.
honored by it.
Let's just start that.
Well,
Trump actually has a lisp. He always has a body double.
what were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted with a
Well, I was
bullet?
going to say how good the numbers were. By the way, we're going back to Butler. We're going to go
Great.
back in October. We're all set up, and
There
the
ain't no
people are
way he's going back to
fantastic in
Butler.
Butler.
That's crazy.
It's a great area. Great. These are incredible people. Like the three that, in the case of Corey, killed, and the other two, the families are. I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler, and I think I'll probably start by saying, as I was saying,
As you were
prior to
saying,
being so
exactly. So,
horribly interrupted.
yeah.
But
Yeah. So rudely interrupted by an
yeah,
assassination
so it was.
attempt.
But no, but the chart,
Some people have no manners.
Elon, the chart was just a chart that in my last week, we had the best illegal immigration numbers, meaning stopping. It was at the lowest. You've seen the chart. It's become quite a famous
Yeah.
chart,
Yeah.
but that was the lowest
Yeah.
point ever recorded. It was a really, I mean, I was very proud of those numbers. And then you see what happened with these people, Kamala and Joe. You see what happened. They just let it go. I had remain in Mexico policies. I had all these different policies that was so good. Uh, Guys like Tom Homan and Brandon Judd from Border Patrol. All these are all people that they've been on television. They said it's the best numbers we've ever had. We had so many different checks, catch and release in Mexico, not the United. We had catch and release in the United States. We had it in Mexico. We had so many things. We had things where if many people come in there, they have
Thanks,
contagious
man.
diseases. We had everything passed. If you have a contagious disease, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow you into the country. So we were setting
Yeah.
literally
Why is he
records, and
laughing?
all I was doing is showing that, and I use it sometimes,
Sure.
and in this case, I'm glad I used it. I can tell you that, but they were fantastic numbers. But I'm going to sleep with that chart always. I'll be sleeping with that chart. That chart
You're
was
weird, bro. You're a
important,
weirdo. That's a
very
weird
important for a
ass
lot
thing
of
to
reasons.
Well,
say.
I mean,
You're running for
would it be
president.
accurate
What do you
would
mean
it
you're
be
going to
accurate to
sleep
say
with a
that
chart
you're
of
in
the
support
immigration numbers?
legal immigration, but we also need to
Bro's weird
shut
as
down
hell,
illegal
dude.
immigration, and especially unvetted
Yes.
illegal immigration, because
Dog,
and that's not to
Elon
say
Musk was an
anything
illegal
that everyone
immigrant.
who's an illegal immigrant is bad. In fact, I think most people who are illegal immigrants are actually good, but you can't tell a difference unless there's a solid vetting of who comes across the border. Does that accurately
100%.
represent your position?
I say it
Okay.
very simply. They have to come in legally. They have to be checked.
Yeah.
Because look, Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do, she's
Yeah.
saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now. It's horrible. no tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and there will be no tax on tips.
Do I think this will have any
ago.
noticeable effect on Trump's numbers, positive or negative? Negative.
You know, they not only
Negative is negative. No positives. Normal people are not on Twitter, chat.
Many of them were assigned to go get waste.
Most people are just going to talk about how shitty the interview was and how it failed spectacularly. Elon Musk has already murdered 2 campaigns. He's about to murder his 3rd.
People horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, you know, she comes out with what I said, which I think is terrible. And I think it's also hitting them very hard. These people are fake. Now they're also saying they did a good job on the border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our country. There's never been a country in history that has had a catastrophe like this. We've had, I believe, and I think you believe this too, you know, you hear 12 million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country, many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or a bigger version of that is insane asylums, and many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia, they're coming from the Middle East, they're coming from countries that are stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the world. And you know, you look at, it's so sad October 7th because it should have never happened. It's so sad when you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. We have a defective government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border.
Game, thank you for the 10 gift of subs.
You have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they won't do anything. It's all talk. She's incompetent and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something because he's not too good.
Hassan is a bitch.
No, I think it is essential to have a secure border. I mean, you're really not a country unless you have a secure border.
A lot of people have talked about how Trump doesn't know what an asylum seeker is and thinks it's an insane asylum. And I'm beginning to feel like that is the case.
Or we can't function as a country, and our service, you know, our central services are being overwhelmed in a lot of cities. But as we were talking about earlier, I think having a legal immigration process that is smooth and efficient and done well, and I'm speaking as someone who is a legal immigrant, I think like one way to think of it is, who do you want on your team? You know, who do you want on Team America? And I think we want to just say, okay, we want to let in people who are gonna, you know, be great contributors to our society and to our economy, and you know, and who do you want on the team? And it's not to say that, like in my opinion, actually,
Elon
I'd
was
say
an
like
illegal
probably
immigrant.
most of the illegal
Elon was an undocumented immigrant.
Are actually good, hardworking people. That's my opinion. But some are
Straight
not.
up.
And you just have this sort of adverse selection process where, you know, if somebody's, you know, if somebody's like a, you know, has a career in theft or robbery, I don't understand what's taken them so long to get here, because we're such a target-rich environment. I mean, you know, why aren't more people who have a career in, you know, bad things coming here sooner? Because it's a piece of cake to go rob, you know, houses in LA or New York, compared to other parts of the world. And in a lot of places in America, if you try to stop the person who's robbing you, you'll be arrested. So
it's right. I mean, what's happening with crime?
What?
And our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I hate to say it because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it.
Oh my God.
I hate it. But you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're allowing, again, they're allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have had all of them.
No way.
As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers. They're taking, frankly, their prisoners. They're emptying out their prisons. They're taking their criminals, their murderers, their rapists, and they're They're delivering them into
That's what Castro did.
yeah,
That,
well, he did on a much smaller scale.
yeah,
You know, it was a much smaller
yeah.
scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. You know, this is migrant crime. This is
Bro,
crime
crime is down in
gonna
America too,
and I saw it
dumbass. What
today
the
in
fuck
New
are you
York, where
talking
somebody
about?
was knifed with a.
Are we dumping our criminals to
girlfriend
other
of a
countries
man
too?
that
I mean,
stood
we
there
have done that in
watching
El
in New
Salvador.
York in one of the shelters and started pulling out the knives, and bad things happened today. But this is happening every day. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for murder and all sorts of things. And they're releasing them into our country, and they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people.
Yeah.
These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people. And it's horrible what they're doing. And she's in charge of it because, you know, now she's trying to say she had nothing to do with it. And she's such a liar because she was called the border czar the first day, and it was on the headlines of every newspaper. She's the border czar, and she never even went there. She went to one location, which had nothing to do with where the problem is. You know, she went in and out, I
Right.
guess, because she was getting a lot of pressure,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
had nothing to do where the problem
yeah.
is. But she was the
Well,
border czar, and people
yeah, yeah,
can't allow them to get away with their disinformation campaign. Now she's trying to say that she wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is horrible. She was totally in charge. She could have shut the border down without him. He didn't know what he was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have even known
yeah,
what happened. You could shut the border down; he
yeah.
wouldn't even know the difference. But the
This is a good
fact
line.
is that she was
Not a bad
border
line.
czar.
Give him
But
credit for that
you
one.
don't have to call her that. The fact is, you could just call her. She was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst
Right.
ever.
It's simply not working.
No, it's horrible.
Whether it's whether it's a question of intention or competence, either way, we don't have a secure border, and we have people streaming over like it looks like a World War Z zombie apocalypse.
The real issue is not the border, but the top of the hour ad break. And avoiding the top of the hour ad break by subscribing. Many people don't want to know this. Many people don't want to do this. But at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, if you want an uninterrupted broadcast experience, you got to subscribe. Which you can do for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime or by getting gifted a sub. Twitch Primes are free,
made up or
folks.
real? And I'm just seeing people
Here's the 3-minute
stream
ad break
across
now.
the border. And I have to say, you know, at least the people that I saw did not look friendly. You know,
These are
people
people.
can look at my video and say,
sure about
hey,
your
you know,
standpoint, but you
these
surely
people
must
look
have an
friendly. I
opinion.
don't look super friendly. So
These are people that Elon would not be the same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people coming across. And I know rough people. And these are people that we don't want in our country. And, you know, the caravans are coming in and they're putting, and who's doing this are the heads of the countries. And you would be doing
Yeah.
it, and so would I. And everyone would say, oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you, but these are people that are non-productive. They are just not productive. I mean, for whatever reason, they're not
Yeah, yeah.
workers, or they don't want to work, or whatever. And these countries
Bro,
are getting rid of
you have two spoiled billionaires coming from multi-millionaire, billionaire parents talking about how, like, the random Guatemalan dude that crossed the border, trekked for thousands of miles to work for pennies on the dollar is unproductive. Shut the f up, bitch.
Walking over here, and I saw an ad by Kamala saying how she is going to provide.
Anyone that believes this narrative is the dumbest rube and deserves to have all their money stolen by these dipshits. Straight up.
Yeah, I think this, frankly, I think this is a fundamental existential issue for the United States. And if we have another form,
like, we're literally on the website of a guy who is demonstrably an incompetent asshole who bricked a website that was at least usable before.
3.5 years. I'm not sure we've got a country.
You don't have a country
at
left.
that point.
Elon, if they get in, you will have 50 to 60 million people from all over the world, not South America only. You know, we think of South America, we think of Honduras and El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico, you know, the four. but it's not that. It's everywhere. They're coming in from
Yeah,
everywhere. And I had to stay in
yeah. I think
Mexico.
this is a super important
Yeah.
point. Like people, it's like basically when I went down there, I was like, well, where are people from? It's like almost no one was from Mexico. To be
No,
clear,
Mexico
it's
less
it's just it's just
less
it's
of
just the
the others.
border. It's just the border with Mexico. But the people coming in, it's Earth, the rest of Earth, and America is only about 4 or 5% of the population of Earth. It would only take a few percent of the rest of Earth to overwhelm everything in the
We're
U.S.
already
So
overwhelmed, Elon. We're overwhelmed. You had to see the news tonight about New York. New York, and I love that place, and what they're doing to it is horrible, what they're doing to it. And all the courts do is they
yeah,
try and focus on Trump. Okay, let's focus on Trump, who did nothing wrong. I complain about a rigged election. Elon, what's happened is unbelievable. You have from Africa, from the Congo, they're coming, from the Congo. And 22 people came in from the Congo recently, and they're murderers. And they dropped them. They
What?
drop them. They take them out of jails, which is very expensive, to maintain the jails, although they don't do too much maintaining, I can tell you. They take them out of jails, prisons. They take them out, and they bring them to the United States. They deposit them in the United States and say, don't ever come back or you're going to be executed. And they don't want to come back, but they won't come back.
sure.
But they're coming from Africa. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from South
Well,
America.
just
They're
Earth,
coming from
rest of Earth,
everywhere.
basically.
And there are a lot of
Yeah,
really
everywhere on
bad
Earth.
ones.
It's just an everywhere on Earth thing, and it's just not possible for the United States to absorb everyone from Earth, or even a few percent of the rest of Earth. It's just not possible.
Well,
So
Elon, we're going to have
that's
just to
yeah,
finish this up. We're going to have the largest deportation in history of this country, and we have no choice. Otherwise, we're going to have a country. What they've done to our country. Think of it, with in Venezuela and in some of these other countries, crime is down 50, 60, 70, 80%. And you would be the same. You would have.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
tell you what, Venezuela has not gotten rid of all of them. They've gotten rid of about 70% of their really bad people. Their jails are about 50% put into the United States. Same with other countries. Some
sure,
are at 30%, some are at 50%. They're all different. But the bottom line is they're all going to be at 100%. Why wouldn't you put 100% of it?
yeah,
And they're doing it right now while this third-rate phony candidate. Don't forget, I beat Biden.
What?
He
What?
failed in the debate miserably. And, some
Oh,
people said, oh, gee, it's too bad. It's too bad he did so
he
badly,
did
or
beat
I
him in the
did well
debate
in the debate.
because
The
he was
first
dead.
night they said, wow, one of the people at CNN said that was the greatest debate performance I've ever witnessed. And then 2 days later, they didn't talk about that. They just said he was bad. But that's okay. That's the way I get treated, and I don't mind that at all. What I can
Because
tell
he
you is
didn't
this:
beat him. He was
that
bad.
we
He was
cannot have a
dying.
Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent.
Bro's
She's as bad
dunking
as
on a
Biden. Look, she
senile
hasn't
old
done an
man.
interview since this
yeah,
whole scam started.
well,
And say what you want. This
yeah,
was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said we can do it the nice
yeah.
way or we can do it the
No,
hard way.
yeah. No, I mean, they just took him out back behind the shed and basically shot him.
What they did
Biden.
with this guy,
So
and I'm no
yeah,
fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history. And one of the reasons he was so bad, first of all, the Israeli attack would have never happened. Russia would never have attacked Ukraine, and we'd have no inflation. And we wouldn't have had the Afghanistan mess, if you think of it.
well,
And we wouldn't have had
yeah,
Afghanistan. But we think of it,
well, yeah.
you take a few of those events away, and we have a different world. We would also have
No,
no
no, yeah.
inflation was caused by oil.
Yeah, no, no. I think you're making an excellent point here, which is that when other countries can, that are, are thinking about invading or doing bad things, when they're thinking about that, they're thinking about, okay, what's the American president going to do, and do they fear the American president, or is there someone they do not respect and do not fear? And I think they would. They rightfully be. I mean, look at the footage with the assassination. They're like, okay, uh, President Trump is like, don't mess with me. I mean, that's like, whereas I think people are not going to be, and they obviously have not been at all intimidated by Biden, and they certainly will not be intimidated by Kamala. And you have to really think of that in the context of global security. That if the American president is someone that, like, evil dictators are scared of, that makes a huge difference to the security of the world.
So I had a good relationship with Putin, despite the Russia hoax that lasted for over 2 years. Just a hoax created by Hillary Clinton and Adam Shifty Schiff, some just bad people, just sick people, frankly. I mean, Schiff is a sick person. He's going to end up probably being a senator. It's hard to believe. The whole thing is hard to believe. But, they put our country
He's
in
a
danger
sick
with that stuff,
person.
too. They actually, when they make up stories, and you have to fight your way out of it for a long time. But I know Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. I shut down Nord Stream 2. That was the big oil pipeline, the biggest, I think, the biggest pipeline in the world going all over Europe. I shut it down. Biden came, and then they say,
Yeah.
I loved Russia. I was a friend of Putin, and I loved Russia. No, he actually said to me one time, he said, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as an enemy. I shut down his
Wait,
pipeline.
what?
The biggest pipeline. They were looking at that to
Yeah.
fund, and this pathetic president gets in there. And the first thing he did, one of the early things he did, is he shut down Keystone XL pipeline, which is our pipeline that would have employed 48,000 people, pipeline workers, shuts it down. That was, a massive job that Obama refused to allow.
Yeah.
I allowed it in my first week because it was jobs and it moved oil. And by the way, in a much more environmentally friendly way. It's underground. It's not a truck that catches on fire or a train that catches on fire. But think of it. He shut down the XL pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline.
Yeah.
He shuts that down and he approves the Russian pipeline,
Yeah, it doesn't make any
right?
sense. It's inconsistent. Certainly but I mean, I think it's just worth emphasizing to listeners the immense importance of whether the United States president is intimidating or not intimidating, and how much that matters to global security, because there's some real tough characters out there, and if they don't think the American president is tough, they will do what they want to
I
do.
know every one of
And
them.
it puts the whole
Yeah.
world in danger.
Elon, I know every one
It's
of
a
them,
big
and I know
deal.
them well. I know
Yeah.
Putin. I know President Xi. I know Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I know every one of them. And let me tell you, people will say, oh, this is terrible. He said, I'm not saying anything good or bad. They're at the top of their game. They're tough. They're smart. They're vicious. And they're going to protect their country, whether they love their country. They probably do. It's just a different form of love, but they're going to protect their country. But these
Yeah.
are tough people at the top of their game. And when they see a Kamala or when they see Biden, Sleepy Joe, they can't even
Yeah.
believe it. They can't believe this happened. All the stuff that you're seeing now, all the horror that you look at Israel, they're all waiting for an attack from Iran. Iran would not be attacking, believe me. When I was there, and I say it with respect because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran, but they knew not to mess around. Iran was broke because I told China, if you buy from Iran oil, it's all about the oil. That's where the money is. But if you buy oil from Iran, you're not going to do any business with the United States. And they said, we'll
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah.
They didn't buy oil. Other countries, likewise.
Sure.
You want to buy, you're not doing business with the United States. And they were at a point where they had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for any of these instruments of terror. It was amazing. In fact, there were articles when I was leaving, which is hard to believe, actually, especially when you look at what's happened to our country. Our country is so bad right now. It's such a different place. We were respected. Think of it. 4 years ago, we were so respected to a point where when I said don't buy oil, they didn't buy oil, but they had no money,
Yeah. Yeah.
and Israel
Why
would
am I
have
so
never
quiet?
been attacked.
It's just like I'm in
Zero
utter
chance.
disbelief
And
of
again, I said to Vladimir
how
Putin,
similar
I said,
this
"Don't
is
do
to
it.
every
You can't
Trump
do it,
ramble
Vladimir.
rant.
You'd be a bad
He's just
day.
literally
You
cooking up the
cannot do it."
same exact
I told
nonsense.
him things that what I do, and he said, "No way." And I said, "Way."
Yeah, I'm quiet because my goats are
And it's the
talking.
last time we ever had the conversation. He would never have done. I got along well with him. I hope to get along well with him again. Getting along well with them is
I
a
can't
good
believe
thing,
I
not
still
a
haven't
bad
gotten a
thing. I got
bingo.
along well with
Yeah.
Kim Jong Un. When I met with President Obama just before entering, it's a sort of a ritual. And I sat down with him and we talked. It was supposed to be for a very short period of time. It turned out to be a long period of time. I said, "What's the biggest problem?" He said, "North Korea." I had that problem worked out very quickly. It was nasty at the beginning with Rocket Man and you know, all the different things.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I got a call.
Those were some epic tweets, by the way.
Yeah, they
Those
were.
like,
They were epic. Everything. He said that he has a red button on his desk. I said, I have a red button on my desk too, but my red button is much bigger, and my red button works. And then I called him Little Rocket Man of Little Rocket Man. Anyway, here's the bottom line. All of a sudden, I got a call from him.
Bingo.
And they said they want to meet. They want to meet me. And we met,
as
you remember, we met in Singapore. We met also in Vietnam.
Epic tweets.
And I got along with them great. We were in no danger. But President Obama thought we were going to end up in a war. A nuclear war with him. And let me tell you, he's got a lot of nuclear stuff, too.
Exactly.
He's got plenty of nuclear. He can do plenty of damage.
Yes, I mean, it's because, you know, I mean, people like Kim Jong-un, they respond to strength, not weakness.
Well,
and
he and I had a good relationship.
You know,
remember I met him and we walked onto his land. Nobody ever walked onto his land before. I walked onto. I wouldn't say. Let's bring up Secret Service again. I wouldn't say they were thrilled when I did that. I walked onto his land, and it was.
Yeah,
it was an amazing period.
Was working fine.
But we were not in danger with him because of me. You know, I always say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside.
When you ask the question, I can't believe there are people that would vote for this guy. Yes, dude. Think about the worst person you've ever met in your daily interactions. Like just an overall repugnant, awful dude who's just angry all the time. Why wouldn't he vote for this guy?
A president that gets it.
There's plenty of dog shit people out there who are like, yeah, this is great. Oh, I love him.
I mean, we forced Obama, if you think about it, Obama and Biden, and
Did
Bush
you see
to a certain extent,
is Jack Posobiec? He accidentally posted a Jack tweet on it and deleted it and then posted on the correct account right after. Please tell me you logged it.
If you're a history student, the first thing you learn is you cannot let Russia and China align. But then they also got Iran and they have North Korea. You know, they call it the axis of evil. In the old days, you had the axis of evil. Here we have a modern day axis of evil. These are powerful countries, very heavy nuclear, which is the biggest threat. Yeah. You know, the biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise 1/8 of an inch over the next 400 years. And you'll have more oceanfront property, right? The biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming, because we have 5 countries now that have significant nuclear power.
Said what?
And we have to not allow anything to happen with stupid people like Biden. You know, Biden did something with Russia. There was no chance of him ever going in. And when I left, and then after I left, they started forming big armies on the border with Ukraine, right? And I looked at that, and I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But then Biden started saying such stupid things. For instance, he said that it can be a NATO country. Now, Russia, for as long as there's been NATO, has said, we're never going to agree to that. We go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes this low. He said things so stupid that war would have been. That war had zero chance of happening if I were there. Zero chance. He was saying everything the opposite. Everything the opposite.
Someone should remind him he's not running against Biden.
Many more people have been.
I think he forgot. He went back to his old speeches so hard. He's still cooking
in the
Biden.
Armies,
dude.
You lost 500,000 people, and you know Ukraine's having a hard time. Ukraine, I don't know if you saw the article recently, and it's true. You don't hear the true story.
I suspect he forgot.
If you think about it, Russia's gone, you know, Russia defeated Germany with us, and they defeated Napoleon. You know, they've been around a long time. They're a big fighting force, and it's very unfair. And Ukraine now doesn't have enough men. They're now using young men and very old men to fight. We're in a very bad position, and I'm not going to blame exclusively, but I can tell you I could have stopped that, and a smart president could have stopped that. It wouldn't have happened. But we had a man that actually made it more prevalent. It was so bad. The words that he was using, the stupid threats coming from a stupid face that he was using, I said, this guy's going to cause us a war. He's going to cause us. And let me tell you,
Yeah,
it can
yeah.
lead to World War III.
fuck?
That can lead to World War III. The Middle
he's
East can lead to.
devolving.
We have numerous
He's
places that could
devolving.
end up in
Yeah.
a World War III right now for no reason
No,
whatsoever.
I think you're right. I think people underrate the risk of World War III, and it's just when you're looking at the risk of global thermonuclear warfare, it's game over for humanity, and it's something that people have, I think, after the end of the Cold War, people have become complacent about, but they actually have forgotten that there are currently a lot of nuclear missiles that have targeting parameters for the United States from other
100%.
countries.
And one of the things
And
we're going to do is
it's
we're going to build an Iron Dome over us. Israel has it. We're going to have the best Iron Dome in the world. We need it, and we're going to make it all in the United States. But we're going to have protection because it just takes one maniac
Israel won't let
start
us.
something.
Sir, we have to ask permission for Israel if we can use it or not.
Some other places have one that nobody even knows about, frankly. But
I'm not kidding. I think he thinks the Iron Dome is literally a dome. There is a non-zero chance he thinks it's an actual dome.
But with all of that being said, the election's coming up, and the people want to hear about
he was the president. He has to know we have defense systems already.
Food prices are up 50, 60, even 100% in some cases, and this stupid administration allowed this to happen, and it's a shame. And that's the thing that people most care about, in my opinion. They care about the border a lot. And we discussed the border at great length. It's nice to have a forum like this where I can discuss something at length. And by the way, you think Biden could do this interview? Do you think that Kamala could do this interview? They would take a pass on you.
No, they could not.
So they don't need Elon.
Yeah, because he's sucking you. I'm sure Kamala would love to do a non-contentious, non-adversarial conversation with a random billionaire
somebody that does
loves
this for a living can't answer a question or is afraid to do an interview. And in her case, with a very friendly interview, she's got all friendly interviewers. It's pretty sad.
Yes, absolutely.
But the big thing now is the economy, Elon.
Yeah.
And as much as I view nuclear as the single most important thing, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't
I asked the
understand
Trump
that,
campaign.
It doesn't have to. If I understand it, that's all you need.
Why the coup attempted criminal former president slurring his words and lisping? The campaign's response must be your shitty hearing. Get your ears checked out.
It's making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy.
Is that guy a real Huffington Post correspondent?
With inflation.
That's crazy.
It doesn't matter what you make. The inflation has eaten you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle-income person, you can't afford. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using all their money and borrowing money just to live. It's a horrible thing that's happening, and we'll end that quickly.
Well, I think a lot of people just don't understand where inflation comes from. Inflation comes from government overspending because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government. So if the government spends far more than it brings in, that increases the money supply. And if the money supply increases faster than the rate of goods and services, that's inflation. So really, we need we need to reduce our government spending, and we need to re-examine. I think we need a government efficiency commission to say hey, where are we spending money that's sensible?
Trump
Where is
also
it?
dumped boatloads during COVID. What the do you mean? That would mean that it's Trump's fault that inflation is
currently
happening.
Adding, I think, $1 trillion to the deficit every.
Dude, this is insane that Elon Musk talks about government spending. Your entire billionaire status comes from government spending. You literally have never done a singular endeavor that does not require billions of dollars of checks being written to you. Literal green energy credits kept Tesla afloat in times when they were literally about to go under. Oh my God!
Great job in that. Then we gave $85 billion of it.
Subsidies fueled the Tesla rise.
$85 billion.
Your brother and yourself built a solar energy panel company, again, with government funds. SpaceX is a government outsourced operation off of NASA.
Let's go back to the economy.
I hate this motherfucker.
Energy started it. The price of gasoline. Now your cars don't require too much gasoline, so you have a good, and you do make a great product. I have to say, I have to be honest with you. That doesn't mean everybody should have an electric car, but these are minor details. But your product is incredible. But the gasoline, Elon, is the cost of energy. Not only gasoline, it's the cost of heating your house and cooling your house.
It's too.
That has to come down.
Why?
It's gone up
Why?
100%, 150, and 200%. That has to come down. When that comes down, and we're going to
Yeah.
drill, baby, drill. You know, they stopped drilling, and then they went back to drilling because they went back to the Trump policy. But if they won the day after they get into office, this country will go out of business because they're going to go to an energy policy that's not sustainable, wind and different things. You're not going to have anything.
Yeah.
And I know you're a big fan of the AI, and I have to say
Yeah.
that AI, and this is shocking to me, but AI requires twice the energy that the country already produces for everything. So you're going to have to build. We're going to have to build a lot of energy if our country will be competitive with China, because that's our primary competitor for this on the AI. You're
Sure.
going to need a lot of
Well, I mean,
electricity. You're going to need tremendous
yeah.
electricity, like almost double what we produce now for the whole country, if you can believe it.
Sure. Well, just going, back to this, like this basic thing, which that people try to make it sound complicated, but it's not. But inflation is caused by government
Right.
overspending. Would you agree that we need to take a look at government
Yes.
spending and have perhaps a government efficiency commission that just tries to make the spending sensible and so the country lives within its means, just like a
The
person does?
waste is incredible, and nobody
It
negotiates
is.
prices. You used to have a lot of people making jets, and you end up with two companies, and they'll probably try and merge at some point. I mean, I went through it like Air Force, just a thing like Air Force One. One of the first documents they asked me to sign, a general walks in, "Sir, would you please sign this document?" And what is it? Air Force One. That's with Boeing, which is basically two planes, two 747s. And the price was
Yeah.
$5.7 billion for two planes. Now they're
Wow.
highly sophisticated.
That's
They're
insane.
even nicer than your plane, okay? But much more sophisticated. They're very, I won't say what's on it, but they got a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, but it's
Sure.
5.7.
That's a crazy
It's a
number.
crazy number, but I said, I'm not going to pay 5.7. I'm not going to do it. I said, who made the deal? Obama and his people. I said, well, then I know the deal's no good. I'm not going to do it. And over a course of about 4 weeks, by my saying I'm not going to do it, I got the price reduced by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane, other than we had a nicer paint job, if you want to know the truth. But for the exact same plane, I saved one. And I said to Boeing, man, you guys must make a lot of money if you can reduce the price by that. But now what I do hear is that they're going back to the Biden administration and wanting big cost overruns, because they see these dopey suckers in there, and they'll end up getting some of the money back. But I shaved it by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane. And you can now take that and multiply that out times thousands of other
Exactly.
items.
Multiply it by
Yeah,
a
the
zillion,
numbers are
and yeah.
astronomical. I agree with you.
Well, I mean, if so, I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money, is spent in a good way. And I'd be happy to help out on
We
such a
can't have that.
commission.
We
I'd
got to
love
spend
it.
unlimited billions on Israel,
You're the
though.
greatest cutter. I mean, I
Both of
look
you
at
guys
what
agree
do.
on
You
that.
walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on
Yeah.
strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike, and you say, that's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone, and you
Oh,
are the
he's so
greatest. You would be
pro-labor.
very good.
Remember when he
You'd
had
love it.
Sean
But,
O'Brien
if you
at the
look at Argentina,
RNC?
Well, I'd be happy to
yeah,
help
by the way,
out.
congratulations. I
Yeah.
just looked at the number of people that are listening to you and I chat. We'll call it a chat. But
Yeah.
congratulations. This is very good. I mean, it's great. And you're an interesting character. The new head of a place called Argentina, and he's a big,
Malay's awesome.
he's great. And
Yeah.
he's a big MAGA fan, that he ran on MAGA. And he took it to an extreme too. He ran on MAGA, and I hear he's doing really a terrific job.
Yeah, it's so terrific. 267%
Great
inflation in
again. It worked
Argentina
out
right now.
perfectly. He came in, he bought a lot of hats, he brought over, but he's doing a big job. He really cut. And I'm hearing
Yeah.
they're starting to do pretty well. Inflation's getting down. They had like
Yes, exactly.
2,000%. They had inflation like not normal inflation. They had the real deal. But we're going to
Yeah.
have that pretty soon. I think we
Yeah.
have the worst inflation we've had in 100 years. They say it's 48 years. I don't believe it. I think we have the worst. They
Yeah.
don't include a lot of the items that should be included.
Yeah. Well, it's just from government overspending and not spending taxpayer money
Yeah,
effectively, and having just like so many departments you can't even name them all, and what Milei is doing is he's cutting government spending, he's simplifying things, he's putting in regulations that make sense, and Argentina overnight is experiencing a giant improvement
that's
in
right.
prosperity. But it's also a lesson for the United States, which is that um, Argentina used to be one of the most prosperous countries in the world. Um,
That's right.
in the like in the 30s, 40s, and because of bad government policy, it ruined the country. And if you take Venezuela, for example, Venezuela should be incredibly prosperous. They have phenomenal reserves of everything, oil,
Yeah,
everything, and
Trump
it
literally
should be
hardened the
prosperous.
sanctions
But
on
if the government's
Venezuela. He's
wrong,
the reason why
it
they're fucking
impoverishes the
collapsing.
people. And so I think we should not be complacent in the United States in thinking that and taking our
What
prosperity
the
for
fuck?
granted, because if with bad government policy, we can run the country into the ground. And that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think of education. So we're ranked at the bottom of every list of the top 40. We're ranked number 40, number 38. Uh, Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked good. Actually,
Huh.
China's pretty
I
close to
wonder
the top. They're a top
why.
6 or 7. But
I
we're ranked
wonder
at the bottom,
why.
almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40.
I
In other
hate
words,
these
horrible.
demons. They're
And yet
literally
we
advocating
spend more
against
per
policies
pupil than
right
any other
now.
country in the world. So we spend more. And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where
Yeah,
where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho,
That's insane.
not every state will do
He's
great
literally
because states
arguing.
that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He he's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. But of the
yeah.
50, I
This
would bet
motherfucker's like,
that
I hate Project
35 would
2025,
do
but also abolish
great,
the Department of
and
Education.
15 of
Yeah.
them, or 20 of them, will be as good as
He
Norway.
hates Project
Norway's
2025,
considered
by the way,
great.
remember?
You can name them. I mean, they're so good. Some of
Yeah.
these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no
California has
debt,
a surplus.
everybody working. They're really well
California
run.
literally has a
Sure.
surplus.
And maybe they have certain advantages in terms of location, in terms of the land or the sun, and the water and the whole thing. There are a lot of advantages that some people have. But if you moved education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better because it'll be a pretty bad situation. But
Yeah.
if you think
Well,
about it,
yeah.
you'll have some
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than
Yeah.
half what it is in Washington. And
Yeah.
these people don't care
Well,
about the
yeah.
students in these, faraway states. And it'd
Well,
be unbelievable.
yeah. I think you're making a good point in that if the states have to if each state has to compete against other states, then people will
That's
naturally
right.
move to states where it's better.
Well, like
Um,
California, as we said, it's a badly run state. I could go through. I got so many friends that are in those states, even if they're Democrats. I hate to mention certain states, but Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's a real loser. But
yeah.
but some of these places are just badly run. But it's almost going to force them to run better, and they won't do it good initially. But you're not going to do worse than you're doing right now. And I would say that
Yeah.
the cost, you would cut your cost by 50 or 60%. And you'd have a little
Yeah. Yeah.
monitor. You want to make sure they're teaching English as an example. Give us a
Yeah.
little English, right?
Sure, yeah.
Right?
No, but I mean, to what? I mean, some of these governors are doing so badly. I mean, they got so many people moving out of their state. They should get U-Haul Salesman of the Year award because they're driving so much U-Haul
It's
sales.
actually
It's just
amazing.
people moving out.
Isn't it amazing to you as a businessman that they can even survive? Like Illinois, so many people are leaving, and you wonder, how do they survive? I mean, how do they survive? I saw where you left California and you moved to Texas. Texas does a great job. But, I
Yeah.
mean, I just wonder, how do these states survive? when big businesses, a big oil company just left California, as you know, and they moved to Texas. How do these big states survive when they lose so many businesses and their taxes are already really high? You know, the taxes are among the highest taxes. You almost wonder, how do they continue on? And in many cases, the governors don't do a good job in their crime-ridden places. You wonder, how do they continue to just go on? It's not. It's
I like
not
the
a-
idea of simultaneously being like, these governors fucking suck, and also they should handle the education,
some of these states to change,
and not the
is if they risk
Department of
bankruptcy
Education.
and they're not getting bailed out by the federal
Right,
government.
right. Well,
That's
you're
the
going to
only thing
have
that's going to
that.
get them to change.
You remember the
Yeah.
area in California where they had that, where I guess somebody had sticky fingers and they stole a lot of money, and they went into a form of chapter, and it was very nasty
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a period of time. But now it's probably the most popular place in all of California. So you know, at some point, something like that may have to happen. But the problem is, you can't penalize people that loan money to the state when you have incompetent people like a Pritzker. Look, the family didn't want him in the family business, and then he ends up being governor of Illinois. So you know what, is he going to be? Is he going to be a great governor? And you know, you have people. I could name every one of them. I got to know every one of
Yep.
these, and some are very good, and some are just horrible.
Well, I think that, I mean, the larger point here, too, you know, as you're saying, like you know, a lot of people are concerned about the economy, a lot of people are concerned about inflation, and inflation is effectively a tax on people that save money
Yeah.
and for people that are working day to
Keep
day.
Pritzker's name out of your mouth.
It's just a
As a
form of
real big boy
taxation.
and a real billionaire, you
And
asshole.
if we can solve the government spending problem, we'll solve the inflation problem, which means people will have a better standard of living, and
Yeah.
that's a really
Piece of
big
Well,
deal.
the people that got hurt worst are the people that did it the way they were taught to do it all through.
That's my
you
real
know, their
goat.
younger life and their young life and their whole life. The people that saved money and then they got no interest on their money and inflation destroyed them. And frankly, they were almost better off if they didn't do anything like that. I mean, those people have been absolutely decimated, and we're going to bring those people back and help those people. We've got to get the prices down. You know, when I look at bacon costing 4 or 5 times more than it did a few years ago, when you look at some of the food products in grocery stores,
Donald Trump has never purchased food at the grocery. Like he's never.
a lot of people just
I don't think in his entire
have
life.
the money. They go in and they can't buy anything. They look at
Yeah.
it's
Can you
sticker
imagine
shock. They
walking
call
into
it
a fucking
sticker shock,
Publix?
right?
Like just walking casually into a Publix,
comes down to
even before he became president.
really two things, which is that if you solve government overspending, you solve inflation, which improves living
Right.
standards of the average person, and then if you deregulate, like have sensible regulations, so because a lot of the regulations are nonsensical and cause the cost to be extreme for no reason, but unless you've got effective deregulation, like Reagan did a great job on deregulation in the 80s, but it's been 40 years since we had
The absolute dumbest people on the planet are listening to this interview and are going to be repeating these like basic, idiotic, pro-capitalist fallacies over and over again.
Well, Elon,
those two things, yeah, those are the big deals.
we set a record. We did more deregulation and more restrictions on all
Like
of the different
deregulation.
businesses
I
than
wonder
any other
why
president.
2
I
billionaires have
remember
a.
I had the rule for everyone.
2
we put
billionaires
in, you have
love
to
the
get rid
idea of
at 10 or
deregulation. I
12.
wonder how that will help
We
the
did
average
radical
person.
cuts on all of that, and a lot of that's being put back by this administration. And we did radical cuts on things.
The Chevron deference getting gutted has caused the U.S. Navy to deny that they are actually polluting the water with forever chemicals, PFAS. Like that literally was an article that came out yesterday or something.
On economy, good marks on military. We knocked out ISIS. We did so many different things. We rebuilt. But, you know, I never got the credit that we really deserved on what we did with COVID. We never got the credit. But had that not happened, a gift from China, from Wuhan, came in from Wuhan, the Wuhan labs, and I always said it, and it turned out to be right. Had that not happened, we were set to start reducing debt. We were going to reduce taxes further. I gave the largest tax cuts, and we were going to reduce taxes still further for middle-income people, not only businesses. But we did it for businesses because they're the ones that's why we had the great job numbers. But we were set to really start reducing debt. And, you know, we're sitting on the biggest pile of liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia. and we were going to drill, and we were going to make so much money. We were going to supply Europe with oil. I had stopped the Russian pipeline, and we were going to supply them with oil and gas. We were going to make a fortune. And then the COVID came in, and we really had to divert. Then what happened is when they came in, you know, we kept a lot of businesses alive. If I didn't do what we did, we would have had a 1929 type depression. But the problem is when Biden came in, he got trillions of dollars and just started spending it stupidly. You didn't need it anymore. You know, we got over that bad period where everybody was dying and feeling it was just not a good period. Interestingly, you know, during his administration, many more people died during his administration of COVID than during my administration, and we really got the brunt of it. But people don't realize more people died during his administration than ours. But it diverted us from doing what I wanted to do. But we had the greatest for, you know, almost 3 years. We had the great, and you know that probably better than anybody. So many of your friends said to me, the best years we've ever had in business were during the Trump years, and also said that African American, Hispanic American were so incredible.
There's something really funny about
Asian American women, men.
There's something really funny about Trump denying climate change
from the best colleges.
To Elon Musk, who's supposed to be
MIT,
a champion
from
of
the
climate
Wharton
justice.
School, from all of the great colleges. Harvard.
He's talking about drill, baby, drill, and oil pipelines to Elon Musk, who is like an EV evangelist.
Everybody was happy. And then COVID came, and we had the problem is they spent trillions and trillions of dollars. They wasted. They shouldn't have taken any money, and we wouldn't be having inflation right now, which is killing our country.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I should probably say something about, like, you know, maybe my views on, you know, climate change and oil and gas, because I think I'm probably different from what most people would assume, because my views are actually pretty, I think, moderate in this regard, which is that I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry and the people that have worked very hard in those industries to provide the necessary energy to support the economy. And if we were to stop using oil and gas right now, we would all be starving. And
He's
the economy
such a
would collapse.
bitch, dude.
So it's, you know, I don't think it's right to sort of vilify the oil and gas industry.
He's such a bitch.
And I, you know, the world has a certain demand for oil and gas, and it's probably better if the United States provides that than some other countries. And it would help with prosperity in the U.S.
Bro is literally 3 minutes away from being like, EVs are gay. Actually, I hate them. I hate people who drive EVs. They are obviously homosexual Marxists. We should stop the production of electric vehicles.
It's not infinite. And there is some risk. I think the risk is not as high as you know, a lot of people say it is with respect to global warming. But I think if you just keep increasing the parts per million in the atmosphere long enough, eventually it actually simply gets uncomfortable to breathe. People don't realize this. If you go past 1,000 parts per million of CO2, you start getting headaches and nausea. And so we're now in the sort of 400 range. We're adding, I think, about roughly 2 parts per million per year. So I mean, it still gives us. So what it means is, like, we still have quite a bit of time. But so there's not, like, we don't need to rush, and we don't need to, like, you know, stop farmers from farming or prevent people from having steaks or basic stuff like that. Like you can leave the farmers alone.
I agree. How crazy is that? Where I mean, you have farmers that are not allowed to farm anymore and have to get rid of their cattle, and the whole world is a little crazy. But it's largely taken its lead from us. I do say, though, I've heard in terms of the fossil fuel, because even to create your electric car and create the electricity needed for the electric car, you know, fossil fuel is what really creates that at the generating plants. And, you know, so you sort of can't get away from it at this moment. I mean, someday you might be able to. But I do hear we have anywhere from 100 to 500 years left. You know, much of it hasn't even been found yet.
Yeah.
But there are tremendous, like Anwar. I got Anwar in Alaska approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it.
Bro, I'm not kidding. Like, if there were normal, if this was a normal market, responsive to the key man, openly, like, glazing an antagonistic industry that it's like choosing to destroy Elon Musk and Tesla, Tesla stocks will be in the pooper, but it is not a normal market. It does not respond to normal market factors. It is completely out of whack.
And I'll get it going very quickly because not only is
it
big for Alaska, I mean, you talk about economic development, that for the United States, I mean, that is, they say bigger than Saudi Arabia or the same size.
You look extra pale and maybe stressed too
pure,
much. I look extra
really
pale.
good stuff. And, you know, they end it. So I think we have, you know, perhaps hundreds of years left. Nobody really knows. But during that time, something will come around that will be very good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my estimate would be, you know, a little more aggressive than that, but it's not the sort of like we're all going to die in 5 years stuff. That's obviously BS. But I mean, my view is like if you just look at sort of the parts per million that increments every year, you know, you get sort of 2 or 3 parts per million every year of CO2. I mean, I think some of that it's problematic if it accelerates. If you start going from 2 or 3 to say 5, and then there may be some situations where you get just a step change increase in the CO2, and I think we don't want to get too close to 1,000 ppm because like that's actually makes it uncomfortable to breathe. Like just existing in 1,000 ppm CO2 is uncomfortable. That's like a
Trump does not understand this gay nerd shit that you're talking about.
You know,
he's like, what are you
that's
saying?
actually you start getting headaches and stuff. So it's even without global warming, it's not comfortable to live. So you don't want to get too close to that. But I mean, I think we've got. I think we want to just move over and like.
I just want to know what Trump looks like
I don't know,
right
50
now.
to 100 years from now, we're I don't know, mostly sustainable. I think that'll probably be okay. So it's not like the house is on fire immediately, but I think it.
I like the idea that we should get to a we should keep fracking,
on balance,
until the air is not breathable, as though the entire global ecosystem won't collapse
without vilifying the
like
oil and
a
gas
century
industry,
before we get to that point.
and without
What the are you saying,
hardship in the
dumbass?
short term. I think this can be done without, you know, people can still have, you know, a stake, and
yeah,
they can
that's
still,
the problem when the air becomes
gasoline
toxic
cars,
to
and
breathe.
you know, it's okay. It's like it's not. I don't think we should vilify people for it, but I think we should just generally lean in the direction of sustainability. And I actually think solar is going to be a majority of Earth's energy generation in the future, and it's certainly trending that way. And so you get the solar power, combine that with batteries, so because obviously the sun doesn't shine at night, and then you use that to charge the electric cars, and you have a long-term sustainable solution. And you know that's what Tesla is trying to move things towards, and I think we've made a lot of progress in that regard. But when you look at our cars,
He sounds like such a bitch when trying to defend this position.
That caring about the environment should mean that you have to suffer. So we make sure that our cars are beautiful, that they drive well, that they're fast, they're, you know, sexy. I mean, they're cool. In fact, literally, I mean, the sexy joke, Model S, Model 3, Model X, and Y spells out sexy. It's probably the most expensive joke out there.
Him saying sexy makes me want to die.
But I don't know, I don't know, I like cheesy humor, you know. So, but I'm a big fan of like, let's have an inspiring future, and let's work towards, you know, a better future, and we can do so without demonizing people.
I'm okay. You know, it's very interesting. You use the word global warming, and today they use the word climate change because, you know, you have some places that go up, and so they were getting themselves in a little trouble with the word global warming because not every place is warming. Some places are going the opposite direction. But you know, I'm sort of waiting for you to come up with solar panels on the roofs of your cars and on the trunks of the cars. And it just seems like something that at some point you will come up with. I'm sure you'll be the first. But it would seem that a solar panel on the roofs, you know, on flat surfaces, on certain surfaces might be good.
Yeah.
At least in certain areas of the country where you have the world where you have the sun. But I would think, and I have no idea because that's not my world, but I would think that this would be something that would be interesting. But you know, the one thing that I don't understand is that people talk about global warming or they talk about climate change, but they never talk about nuclear warming. And to me, that's an immediate problem because you have, as I said, 5 countries where you have major nuclear and, you know, probably some others are getting there, and that's very dangerous. That's where you need a strong American president because you don't want to have this proliferation. But you have 5 countries, and getting more. You know, China is much less than us right now, but they're going to catch us sooner than people think. They're way lower. Russia and us are number one, and I mean, we're sort of tied. And China is far behind, but they're developing at a level that, you know, you're not surprised to hear very fast. They'll end up catching up, maybe even
Yeah,
surpassing. But to me, the biggest
yeah,
problem is not climate change. It's not, and everything's, you know, a problem,
The
but it's
biggest
degrees.
problem is not
To me,
climate
the big
change, it's
problem is the
nukes.
nuclear power. The power of nuclear is so great.
Wait,
And when I talk
yeah, yeah.
about
Nuclear power is underrated. It's
I'll
awesome.
prevent World War
wait, is he
Yeah.
III,
saying like,
I
is he
will.
saying
But
nukes
the
as in like
truth is
weapons
that
or nuclear
you have
power
to, because
plants?
this is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is
Yeah.
a level of
Like, I feel
destruction
like
and
he's
power
playing fast and
that
loose
nobody's
between
ever seen
nuclear
before.
power and like nuclear power plants and then weapons.
There's the bad side of
I
nuclear,
think he
which is
means
nuclear
weapons,
war, very bad
but then
side. But
he like
there's
angles it in a
also, I
way
think,
where, like, does he
nuclear
think power plants
electricity
also have
generation is
nuclear
underrated.
weapons
You're
in
right.
them or something?
And it's actually, you know, people have this fear of
Like,
nuclear
it doesn't make sense.
nuclear electricity generation, but it's actually one of the safest forms of electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding. And if you look at the injuries and deaths, you know, caused by, say, I mean, I'm not going to try to pick on coal mining, but just any kind of mining
Right.
operation, and there's a certain number of injuries and deaths per year. And you compare that to nuclear. Nuclear is actually way better. So it's underrated as an electricity source, and I think it's something that's worth reconsidering. But there's so much regulation that people can't get it done.
Yeah.
So that, you know,
Maybe
We should deregulate nuclear power plants.
there are some areas like
yeah, it's a rough
when
name.
you see what happened in
Good bad
right.
branding. The
We'll have to
branding's rough.
rebrand it. We'll have to give it a good name. We'll name it after
We
you or
should
something.
definitely
You know,
deregulate nuclear power. That's the one thing we should definitely
see what
do.
happened.
It does have a branding problem.
When you see what happened in Japan, where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem, where they, you know, there's a lot of bad things happened.
Wait,
and they have a problem. And they say that in 2,000 years, people will start to occupy the land again. You know, you realize it's pretty bad.
No, that's not true.
But you're
Well,
right
no,
about it. It's amazing.
it's actually not that bad. So like after Fukushima happened in Japan, like people were asking me in California, you know, are we worried about like a nuclear cloud coming from Japan? I'm like, no, that's crazy. It's actually, it's not even dangerous in Fukushima. I actually flew there and ate locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it. And I donated
Trump thinks he's insane for this, by the way. He's right. He's not wrong.
Plant.
But I don't think
And,
Trump understands that.
So well lately, and I'm worried about it.
No, but I mean,
I'm
it's
only
just,
There's
kidding.
it's
no
fine,
way
know?
you can explain
like,
to Trump that what Elon Musk did right there is
Hiroshima
normal.
and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So
Right.
it's
Well, that's
really
great.
not
That's
something that, you know, so it's not as scary
There
as
is
people think.
no
basically.
way Trump believes anything Elon is
Let's see, I
saying.
mean,
Elon is
I mean,
not
are there
wrong.
some other topics
Elon
we
is
could touch
right.
on? You know, like
But there's
lawfare, I think,
0%
you know,
chance Trump
we need
believes
to
him.
be concerned
Trump
about.
probably is
What
looking
they've
at him
done
like
to
you
this
got
country.
3 eyes
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Well, we just won the big
I mean,
case in Florida. This was a Biden administration did something that's never been done in this country, and that's go after their political opponent, me, with this nonsense and just nonsense. And the big case in Florida we won, but they always pick a judge and a jury, and they use local DAs, they use the local attorney generals.
Yeah. He's like, let's move
Like
on from
Fani,
this
you know,
weird
Fani.
shit about you eating radiated
Yeah.
plants,
F-A-N-I,
loser.
Fani. And it's
Yeah.
all a big hoax, and it's all run from there. Like in Manhattan, one of the top people from the Justice Department went in, ran Manhattan, ran the state. The Letitia James deal was run by a person from the Department of Justice, Biden. They've never done this before,
Sure.
and they set up a very bad precedent. It's called lawfare, warfare. It's
Yeah.
a terrible thing, and never happened in our country. It does happen in banana republics and third world countries, but it's never
Yeah.
happened. And the incredible thing is it actually drove my numbers up because people see, you know, fortunately I have a platform like you, or, you know, in all fairness, like a conversation like this, where I can talk about it and people understand. I mean, you fight for election integrity and you end up getting indicted because you're fighting for election integrity. And when the day comes that you can't fight for election integrity, you don't have a country anymore. So what happens? What
Yeah.
happens is they went after their political opponent, me. Now Biden's close to vegetable stage, in my opinion. Okay, I looked at him today on the beach, and I said, why would anybody allow him The guy could barely walk. Why would anybody allow him? Does
Yeah.
he have a political advisor that thinks this looks good? He thinks this looks good because it looks so bad. It's ridiculous. I mean, and he's been doing that for a long time. He can't lift the chair. The chair weighs about 3 ounces. It's meant for children and old people to lift, and he can't lift it. The whole thing is crazy.
Well, he's clearly. He's clearly like, we just don't have a president right now.
You don't
That's
have a
just obviously the
president, and
case.
she's going to be worse than him because she is a San Francisco liberal who destroyed San Francisco, and then as Attorney General, she destroyed California. You talk about location, and we're talking about the sun and the water and all. There's nothing better than California. She has destroyed that. She was the original DA. She was the original in San Francisco. She was the original Attorney General in California. What she has done to California is, well, you know better than I do. You just left California for a lot of those reasons. And what she's done with crime, with cashless bail, where you kill somebody. I mean, we have states there you kill somebody and they let you out right away. I mean,
another fun fact: Donald Trump donated to Kamala Harris's campaign twice.
Our country is becoming a very dangerous place. And she is a radical left,
I believe a total of $13,000.
And now she's trying to protect. Now she's looking like she wants to be more Trump than Trump, if that's possible. I don't think it's possible, but she wants to be more Trump than Trump.
Yeah.
I want a wall.
I think that's.
She wants to release all the prisoners that are in detention, and some of these guys are really bad.
Right.
That just came out today. She doesn't want to build the wall, even though the walls work. Walls and wheels. In your business, everything you do is obsolete. Almost, well, not the tunnels, but everything is obsolete. Even your rocket ships, they're like a month later, they're obsolete. You find a better way to. The only thing that's not obsolete is a wall and a wheel.
General re-election.
And the wall, I built hundreds of miles of wall, and that's why we had such good numbers. I was going to add 200 miles. We bought it. We could have flipped it up in 3 weeks, and they sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. That meant, I said, wow, that means that they actually do want to have open borders. She wants to have open borders, and now she's going like she's tough on the border. It's such a lie.
Yeah, this is simply not true. This is simply not true.
No, and everybody knows it's not true. It's a disgrace that she can say it.
No, I mean, obviously, what's happening sort of overnight is they're rewriting history and making Kamala sound like a moderate when in fact she is far left, like far left.
Worse than Bernie Sanders. She is considered more liberal by far.
Everybody hates Bernie Sanders. Keep comparing Kamala Harris to Bernie Sanders. An unpopular guy.
Very quickly, you're not going to have a country
anymore. In his own base, an unpopular guy.
She believes in defunding the police. She believes in no fracking, zero. Now all of a sudden she's saying, no, I really want to see fracking. If they got in, the day she got in, she'll end fracking. And by the way, if people didn't think that, the lunatics that really believe in that, they won't vote for
Kamala Harris wants 8-minute ads at the top of the hour instead of the 3.
She is
She's a radical. She doesn't want you to subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime at the top of the hour. Subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime.
I mean, Netanyahu came to
or you can get gifted a sub. VT Prof links. Thank you for the 10 gifted
Senate
subs.
and House sitting, and I was there, and Kamala stood him up. What does that say?
I think it's highly disrespectful. And I say, if you're a Jewish person or if you believe in Israel, if you're a person that, is very pro-Israel, if you vote for her, it's worse than Biden, and Biden was bad. But if you vote for her, you ought to have your head examined. And you see tonight, I mean, as we're doing this, I'm seeing reports coming that they expect an attack tonight or tomorrow from hundreds and maybe thousands of rockets. Their Iron Dome, as they call it, as we all call it, but their shield that they build, that can be swamped. We'll use the term that's appropriate, swamped. But they swamp it by shooting enough missiles. You know this better than anybody. By shooting enough missiles, they can't defend themselves. They just obliterate the whole place. And that's what some people think they're looking to do. And we have no leadership. There's no respect for the United States of America with these people. I'm telling you, she'll be worse than him because she's a believer in being radical left, and he wasn't.
I think you're right. I mean, you really,
I think he meant
it's important
swarming the Iron
for the
Dome,
public
not
that maybe listening
swamping,
to this
but
to look at Kamala's track record, before the last like month, and say, is that a track record you agree with? And I think if you're an independent moderate, you definitely would not agree with it, because it is her behavior has been far left, and we're seeing just an overnight propaganda attempt to rewrite history and make it sound like Kamala's moderate when she in fact is not moderate.
Well,
So I
her
think
running
that
mate approved, signed into legislation, tampons
up,
in boys'
up,
bathrooms. Okay, now
anti-trans
yeah,
stuff
that's all
coming.
I
that's
have
weird.
to hear. Tampons in
That's
boys'
weird.
bathrooms, and that means she
Yeah,
believes in that too. I mean,
yeah, that's
she
not
picked
okay.
this guy because he was the closest to her. A lot of people thought she'd pick sort of the opposite, but she picked an anti-Israel radical left person. But she is far worse, they say, than Bernie Sanders. If we have her as a president, if we have a Democrat at this moment as the president, I don't think our country can survive.
I think it's a massive. I think we're in massive trouble, frankly, with the Kamala administration, and that's my honest opinion. And I think really it's essential that you win for the good of the country for this election. And I mean I'm just stating my opinion. Now you may have seen this, but I got a letter from the EU Commission like saying to not have disinformation on the during this discussion that we're having, and there's a lot of attempts to do censorship and to force censorship even on Americans from other countries. And what do you think about that?
Well, I know the European Union very well. They take great advantage of the United States in trade, as you know.
He knows it
We,
very
through a
well.
different forum, NATO, we protect them. And yet, if you build a car in the United States, you can't sell it in Europe. You just can't sell it. It's impossible. The same thing with our farmers. Our farmers find it very difficult to do business. We have a deficit with them of $250 billion, which people don't know. It sounds so nice, the European Union, but let me tell you, they're not as tough as China, but they're bad. And I let them know it. And that's probably why they notified you. No, they don't treat our country well. We defend them. With Ukraine, so we're in for 250 billion, and they're in for about 71 billion, and they have the same size. If you add up the European nations that in terms of an economy, it's about the same size. Wouldn't you say as us? They're in,
Yeah.
and they're in much greater risk. They're
Bro,
right there.
what is an Italian supposed to do in those crowded city streets with a goddamn American tank?
Let's assume they're close enough. And what
Like,
happens is,
all right, how are you gonna get mad at
they're
that?
in for 70-something million. I think even less than that.
Like their roads are not even equipped.
For about 250
Motherfuckers are driving
billion,
on
and it could
roads
be a
built
lot
in
higher
like
than
the
that.
4th
And I
century.
say, why aren't you going to equalize? Why aren't they paying what we're paying? And they're in much more, it's much more important for them because of the fact that, they're right near there. I mean, they're all sort of in that location. We're not. But they
Yeah.
should, and I did it with NATO. There were only 7 countries that were paid up in NATO out of 28 at the time. And the United States
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
the United States was subsidizing NATO, tremendously subsidizing NATO. And I went
Yeah.
in and I said, you
Yeah.
got to pay up. If you don't pay up, we're not going to defend you any longer. I took a lot of heat, but you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in. And,
Yeah. I think a lot of the public isn't aware of the fact that the United States pays a disproportionate share of the NATO expenses,
and then we get
even though
taken advantage of on trade. Think
yeah.
about it.
Well,
I
I mean,
love
the
that
point
they
of NATO is
called
defending Europe,
the
and
EU's calls for no disinformation being spread in this interview
why
censorship.
is the United States paying disproportionately more to defend Europe than Europe? That doesn't make sense. That's unfair, and that isn't appropriate.
Elon, you're a defense contractor. You know
When you
exactly
talk
why.
about cost cutting and sanction,
Like, why is America paying for Starlink to be deployed in
he was very
Ukraine?
honorable to me because when they
I
went with the
wonder.
Russia hoax and they said I had a phone call with him, he said it was a perfect phone call. It was a great phone call. He could have grandstanded and said, oh, he was very threatening. He said no, it was a very nice phone call. I called him up to congratulate him on his win, and you end up getting impeached because these people are
Yeah. Yeah.
lunatics. I was talking about the difference from the people within and the enemies on the outside. in many cases, the people from within are more dangerous for our country than the Russias and the Chinas. If you have a smart president, you're not going to have a problem with them. You're going to do things.
Yeah.
Now, they've taken advantage
Yeah,
of us
absolutely.
incredibly, but you're going to do things with the right person.
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious that you're a believer and an advocate of free speech, because during your first term as president, you were attacked relentlessly every day, often very unfairly, with with false attacks.
Donald Trump literally said he would shut down newspapers that wrote about him critically.
Inhibit their freedom of speech.
He also did not. He also greatly accelerated the Julian Assange proceedings and tried to prosecute him on
Get the word out.
charges.
Although sometimes it's hard because they don't want
Like,
to print it. You know,
I don't like Joe Biden. I hate him. I said I wouldn't vote for him.
Right now,
Julian Assange was freed under the Brandon regime.
You know, she's not a smart person, by the way. She can't have this conversation. And Biden, we don't even have to talk about it. I mean, he couldn't have this conversation. He would have given up on the first half of a question. He would have walked out. He would have said, "Where am I? Where am I going?" So anyway, but no, he wouldn't have this.
That's true.
Not a lot of people would have this conversation, but you know, we cover a lot of territory. But the beauty is that you know, we can have a conversation, and I'm able to get it out without, because I get treated unfairly.
This is a really big point. You can actually have a conversation with you.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
And you can't have a conversation with Biden or Kamala. It's like it's not possible.
I like that they try to loop Kamala Harris and Biden into the same category, like they're both mentally decrepit.
Who's unbelievably sharp in order to stop all the nuclear dangers.
I think Kamala Harris is capable of having a conversation.
And I got along with all these. You know, I got along with Kim Jong-un. We had dinner. We had everything, and he really liked me, and I got along with him really well. By the way, he's the absolute boss over there. You know, a lot of people said, "Oh, do you think he really?"
That's for sure.
Let me tell you, I saw things that you don't want to know about. He is the boss.
Wait,
but
what?
We had a good relationship, and he doesn't like Biden. He considers him a stupid man. He said he's a stupid man. Well, at least he speaks his mind. But, you know, in this country, you're not sort of allowed to say it.
I don't get it. Shouldn't Americans, like, hate that? I mean, I don't, but...
We need smart people, and we need people that have an ability to lead. And she doesn't have that ability. Can you imagine? Now, you know Chairman Xi very well. Can you imagine her and him negotiating, or
put some respect
even standing together? It is, the whole concept is ridiculous. She is terrible. She's terrible. But she's getting a free ride. I saw a picture of her on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing.
The chairman.
And actually, she looked very much like our great First Lady, Melania.
No. Get back to glazing Xi. Come on.
She didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman. So we'll leave it at that, right?
Oh.
Yeah. Well, you know, maybe like I think part of what people in America want to feel excited and inspired about the future.
Weird.
Want to feel like the future.
That's weird. It's a weird thing, bro.
America's going to do things that are greater than we've done in the past. Reach new.
I gotta say, this also further proves that Trump is zesty and also aromantic.
They want
like he appreciates the aesthetics of Kamala Harris. I swear to God,
more important than anything.
It's not even like a horny way of saying it.
You don't have that today because the people, they've been just sucked. They see incompetent people running the Biden thing is very interesting. People just found him
Trump,
to be
my
incompetent.
bisexual ace aromantic.
And when I debated him, is this for real? It was.
Yeah, it was just absurd. But you know, I think there are like some grand projects that we could do. I mean, I think we could build a base on the moon. We could send American astronauts to Mars. We could build high-speed connections that are more advanced than anything else in the world between our cities, so people have fast transport.
Bro, you literally fucked that up.
It's possible to solve traffic.
If he says boring tunnels, I'm gonna put myself in a boring tunnel.
In Vegas doing that, and just do things that are exciting and inspiring and make the future feel like it's better than the past.
Well, I saw what you did in Vegas, and I'll tell you, it was amazing.
Other than raping people, Trump ain't too bad. For the record,
and it's incredible.
Rape is not about sexual desire or sexual gratification. It's about
deep.
Enforcing your power over someone else.
You're in the right area.
No, it's
about domination.
It's amazing.
So like I think we could do some things that like China's got incredible high-speed rail between its cities.
So
but
my
I think
point
it's
still stands on the ace aromantic.
With tunnels, if with deregulation, with an ability to actually where it's like legal to actually do the tunnels, then you could have high speed tunnels that are actually better than anything else in the world for high speed transport between cities.
Bro,
And
literally
that would be
cooked high
something
speed
that,
rail in
you know,
California
Americans can say,
with the
wow,
with
okay,
the
we've got
fucking
something that's cooler
boring
than
tunnel bullshit.
anyone else in the
Yeah.
world. That's the kind of thing that makes you proud to be an
And
American.
much safer than surface trains where there is a danger there, you know, with people, with crazy
Yeah.
people. It's much safer, much better. And, you know, it's sad because I've seen some of the greatest trains. I find it fascinating. And I've seen the systems and how they work, and
charge
the
you
bullet
the-
trains, they call them, I guess. And
Yeah.
they go unbelievably fast, unbelievably comfortable, with no problems. And we don't have anything like that in this country, not even close. And
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense that we don't. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think also like there's you know I'm kind of hopping on the excess regulation, but I think something that I think people can generally understand is that what happens with laws and regulations is that there's more and more of them every year, and unless there's a process to clean them up, eventually everything becomes
You're right.
illegal, and that actually it slows down the development of new technologies. I mean, if you take the sort of like I think there's room for some reform at the FDA for
Yeah.
improving the speed with which we approve drugs that could help save lives and improve people's
Yeah.
lives. And
I worked very hard
and
on that.
you
You
know
know, we got that
yeah
down to the lowest number ever, and we got therapeutics approved in the FDA that people can't even believe the speed. But I
thought that
took
was
them
a
on. I don't
failure.
think they like which, but I
That
got things approved in the
didn't they
FDA
shut that down?
at numbers that they wouldn't believe. And you know, it's a very bureaucratic group. Actually, it's a fine group of people in many cases. I got to know a lot of them, but I was pushing them really hard for Regeneron, for so many different things that were really
He's not talking about
pretty
the vaccine
amazing.
rollout.
But
He's
the
talking about the
FDA
other thing that he
takes too
did,
long.
the right to try.
It's 12 years to get a product approved. I got it down to 4, and I
yeah
got some things done very quickly. But it's really something that is going to have to be worked on because it takes too long. Just takes too long.
yeah it just takes too long, and it's you end up in the same with the approval, but it's just it takes years instead of something that I think could potentially take
Yeah.
months, that improves people's lives. And I
Yeah.
think I just wanted to sort of hop on this point that like there has to be an active process for reducing rules and regulations, because otherwise they just keep building up every year,
Yep.
and you get like hardening of the arteries, and eventually everything's illegal or takes forever, and then we just ossify as a society. We can't make any
Yeah.
progress, and it's a really big
Well, you
deal.
know, Elon, just
So
getting back to the FDA for 1 second, I got something done called Right to Try. This is where you can go in, and if you're terminally ill,
I told
can
you, yeah,
use
he's talking
a
about right to
space
try.
age, medicine or whatever it may be. We have the best doctors, the best labs in the world. We really do. And but people would go to other countries because you couldn't use the product, even if they thought it worked, because it's going through the FDA. I got it approved
yeah,
where you can
yeah,
you basically you look, nobody wanted, the doctors didn't want it because of the liability, the country didn't want it, our country, because they didn't want to get sued. These are people terminally ill. The insurance companies didn't want it, and the pharmaceutical companies, nobody wanted it. I got everybody into a room, and we came up with an agreement that you won't get sued. And also, they didn't want it on their record. If somebody's terminally ill and they die after taking a drug, they didn't want that on their record. So we set a separate list. If somebody was, so it wouldn't count as a negative.
yeah,
Okay. And
It's
you
kind
know,
of
we got it
crazy
done.
that
We have saved Right to Try. They've been trying
Donald
to
Trump
get
is
this
talking
done
about right to
for
try with a guy who has this
58
Neuralink
years,
shit.
and it sounds simple, but it wasn't. Because
It sounds insane.
the insurance
But Elon
companies,
Musk is a
nobody
real
wanted it.
supervillain
But
when
we
you
got
think
it
about
done.
it.
Sure.
Somebody signed.
Like this mother actually wants to chip people's brains, and all the right wingers that talk about how Bill Gates wanted to chip people with vaccines love
We
him.
got it done, and we're saving tens of thousands.
There's
of
perhaps
lives.
no better
Right to
demonstration
try.
of
Hopefully
cognitive
you never
dissonance
need
than a
it,
billionaire
but if you do,
sociopath
you don't
trying
have
to
travel
literally
to
chip
Asia.
people's
You know,
brains,
people, if they
talking
have
to another
money, they go to
billionaire
Asia,
former
they go to
president
Europe.
about how,
If they don't have
yeah,
money,
we
they go
shouldn't
home
have
and
more
die. That's what
regulation in the
happens. They go
medicine
home
field.
and die.
yeah. Well, I mean, and actually, to give Europe some props here, it's like if a drug is approved in Europe, which has a crazy amount of regulations, it should obviously be approved in the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, they got more regulations than we do. So why would a drug be approved in Europe and not in the U.S.? That's crazy.
Well, we did it. We did
Um,
something that really, they've been trying to do it for 50 years, and they
Yeah,
just
why
couldn't
would a
get it
drug
done.
be
And I got it
approved in
done.
the
And
in the
it's
EU
really
but not
something.
the
But you're
US?
right.
Think about
Some
it,
people go
Elon.
to Europe because a drug isn't approved here, but it's approved in Europe, and it's a drug that Generally
Money,
speaking, with
money,
it's pretty crazy.
money.
Absolutely.
You're right.
And I think so, as long as people are properly informed of the
Money.
pros and cons and like these are the risks, these are this is the risk, and like you make your own decision. That makes sense.
Well, I think just,
So
in sort of closing up, and by the way, I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people listening. I hope you don't get
yeah,
nervous because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like 60 million or something. What is that number? It's crazy. It's amazing how you can see that right away. How many?
60
What is the number?
million?
Wow.
Someone corrected him and said,
Wow.
I think in
Wow,
terms of people
that's a
that
big, that's bigger than you said. You said 25 and you're much more than double that number, 25 million. I think you're going to be 60 or 70. And I guess over a period of time, hey, I congratulate you.
what?
Do I get paid for this or not?
That's funny. That was good. That was a good one.
I think actually in terms of the number of people that will hear this conversation over the next few days to
Right.
weeks, it's going to be hundreds.
That's
of
what they
millions.
say. Yeah, that's good. Well, look, it's an
Yeah.
honor. I just asked this, are you better off now or were you better off when I was president? Nobody's better off now. People, we put out polls on that and nobody's better off now. Inflation has killed it. And, they also feel very unsafe. You look at what's going on with a lot of different things. You look at the riots we had at the
Yeah.
colleges over, I mean, it's ridiculous, but
Right.
all of the riots, they just feel unsafe. And now they really feel unsafe because you have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant
yeah.
crime. Maybe I'll call it Kamala migrant crime. But
I mean, with all these things, I always try to get
What?
to the ground truth by just asking people. And my mom lives in New York, and I was like, Mom, do have any of your friends, been attacked or assaulted? And she said, yeah, three of her friends in three separate
Crazy.
incidents were assaulted just in recent months, just walking around the streets of New York.
For being
And
white.
I said, well, what happened to the people that assaulted them? Oh, nothing. They got away. Like, and they just know
they
that
always get away.
nothing's going. And they don't even bother
The
reporting
migrants,
it because
they're so much
there's
better
not,
than
they
our
know that there's
homeborn
not,
criminals. They're
people
able to
not gonna get
assault and
prosecuted.
run away.
They just let violent criminals out in New York.
The
with,
only
with
one that
zero
gets
bail.
prosecuted is Donald
Why
Trump.
are you
They don't
laughing?
They prosecute Trump.
Yeah, I mean
Stupid.
it's just obviously messed up.
Oh, it's terrible.
If violent criminals are being getting
This
off
is the
scot-free,
dumbest. It's like
and
two
how
dumb
the-
bitches having this
New York
conversation
spending
back and
massive
forth.
resources
The f do you mean, dude?
It's like what's this? And
What am I supposed to do? Take him seriously? The f is a clown
public
show.
looks at this and says, "What the heck's going on here? This is obviously abuse of the legal system." The legal system is supposed to be protecting the public
right.
from violent criminals, and it should be obviously allowing the public to make their own decision about who should be president, as opposed to some legal case.
Once they start this precedent, because this can go on with the next one. I mean, this is a very bad precedent, what they're doing, going after their political opponent. And that's all it is. It's going after their political opponent. And then you get a judge who's, a strong Democrat. And I'm being nice when I say that, in many cases, crooked as hell. But you get a judge and you go into an area where a Republican gets 3 or 4% of the vote. And, you'll have a jury pool with people that hate Republicans or hate. It could also be the other way, though.
Of course.
Really
Because it could
fucked
start
up.
the other way in areas where they hate
Exactly.
Democrats. And you get into a
Yep.
Pandora's box. It's a very dangerous thing for this country, and a very dangerous thing even for the state. New York City is losing. New York
absolutely.
City and state lose a lot of business over what they did to me, because these people say, we don't want that to happen to us. That's no justice system. You have an unfair system of
Yes.
justice, and it's costing New York State a tremendous amount of money. People are leaving and companies are leaving, and they won't come back. So, all of that stuff is important. But the economy now is the big thing, and we can turn that economy up so fast, and people are going to be back again. We're going to get rid of inflation.
I think there's a lot of opportunity.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So,
And I just
I
want
thi-
to
I
I want to
think,
congratulate you. You've done an amazing job. You have definitely got a fertile mind. We can talk. You and I can talk about rockets.
it's kind of you to say. Thank
Well,
you.
tunnels. We can talk about tunnels and rockets and electric cars. So many things. And now you're into the AI, and that's going to be another beauty, I'll say. So it's
Yeah.
it's an amazing thing you've done, Elon. It's an amazing thing, and I
Well,
congratulate you.
I mean, thank you. And well, I mean, I just say here, here's to an exciting, inspiring future that people can look forward to and be optimistic and excited about what happens next. And that's the kind of future that I think you will bring as president, and that's why I endorse you.
Well, I appreciate that. That endorsement meant a lot to me. Not all endorsements mean that much, to be honest. Your endorsement
like
meant
that
a lot.
Aiden Ross endorsement, that didn't mean shit.
Make America great again. It's pretty simple, but it really says that we want to make America great again, and we can do it. We can do it now, but if we were going to suffer another 4 years like we've suffered for the last 4 years, I'm not sure the country can ever come back. We have to do a lot of things.
I think that's a very real risk.
Yeah, it's a big risk.
That's a very real risk.
Yeah.
And it's, I'd just like to note to people listening, like I've not been very political before, and if you look at my record, I've actually been.
Bro, you're a billionaire.
So they try to paint me as like a far right guy, which is absurd because I'm like making electric vehicles and.
You are literally a Nazi, bro. You literally retweet Nazi memes on a daily basis. You follow Nazis on the website. You've turned this website into a Nazi shithole.
For 6 hours to shake Obama's hand when he was running for president, and so it's not like I'm like some sort of dyed-in-the-wool long-term Republican. I call myself,
Bro said Henry Ford. I'm just like Henry Ford. I just want to make vehicles. It's so weird that they're calling me a Nazi for the pamphlets that I'm writing and disseminating.
I think a lot of people thought, the Biden administration would be a moderate administration, but it's not. And obviously, we're just going to see an even further left administration with Kamala. That's my honest opinion. I mean, her dad is literally. She was brought up as an actual. Her dad is a Marxist economist. You can Google it. I mean, it's not a. We're not making this.
Put some respect on Donald Harris.
That's how she was brought up. So, and we want to have a future that is prosperous. And I think we're just at this critical juncture.
I do love these guys trying to like.
I think this
trying to still do this narrative where they're like, I'm just a moderate. Bro, yesterday is like, immigrants are actually responsible for every rape that's ever happened in England and should be purged violently. Today, he's like, I'm just a moderate. Why are people calling me a far-right figurehead?
I'm gonna get attacked.
I love every time one of these dumbass losers unmasks themselves because it's always a I told you so moment.
I haven't been active in really active.
You are interviewing Donald Trump, dude. You're interviewing Donald Trump. What do you mean you're moderate?
Moderate, if not moderate.
You cannot be moderate and suck Donald Trump's cock at the same time. You're like, I'm a moderate.
Donald Trump for president. And I think it's actually a very important junction in the road, and we're in deep trouble if they don't.
You can't endorse Donald Trump and be like, I'm a moderate. Why are people saying I'm far right?
I actually always did think of you as somewhat left. I must say that. So it's even more of an honor to have your endorsement. I know how strong you feel about it. But, when you think of her, San Francisco, 15 years ago, I had a great friend, Bob Tish. He said it's the greatest city in America. And now it's almost not livable there. And California likewise. And she was involved in the destruction of San Francisco and the destruction of California. And she will be involved in the destruction of our country if people are so unwise as to elect her. And I hope that doesn't happen. And I hope the elections are going to be run honestly. And we're going to turn.
If I had a nickel for every car maker who made a Model T and hates the Jews, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't much, but it's weird it happened twice. Exactly.
Given to us by other countries as they laugh.
They
laugh at us. They think we're stupid.
It's so weird how that happened.
These are radical, stone cold killers.
Welcome back, Henry Ford.
Cases and terrorists, and they're in our country by the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And we have to take them out.
Yeah, I mean, if I could summarize it, perhaps, I think. These are issues that I think most people in America would agree with, which is that we want safe and clean cities, we want secure borders, we want sensible government spending, we want to restore both the perception and reality of respect in the judicial system, just stop the lawfare, and I think that's like, and how are those even right-wing positions? I think those are just that's just common sense, and that's I mean, would you agree with that?
100%. I don't understand. The whole They call it
doesn't
progressive.
understand
They
it.
don't like
Why
the
are
word
people
liberal
calling
anymore,
him?
but call
He
it
only said to
liberal or
abolish the
progressive.
Department of
I don't
Education.
understand how somebody
Why are
could
people
say that
saying
it's
he's
okay
crazy?
for them to empty prisons into our country.
Yeah.
And again, I told you that
Why are
crime
people
rates
saying
all
I'm
over the world
crazy?
are
I'm
going
just
way down.
hallucinating this like massive plot from Latin American governments.
Something happens with this election, which would be a horror show.
Why are people saying I'm
we'll
crazy
meet the
for
next
this?
time in Venezuela because it'll be a far safer place to meet than our country. Okay, so we'll go. You and I will go.
Why are
and we'll
people
have a
saying I'm
meeting and dinner
crazy?
in
I'm only
Venezuela,
hallucinating
because
that
that's what's happening.
millions of Venezuelans have been dumped out of Venezuelan prisons to come do America rapes.
And you haven't seen anything yet.
So
because
this is a
these
normal
people
position.
have come into our country and they're just getting acclimated. They don't know about being politically correct law enforcement or lack of law enforcement. And our police, I have to just end with this.
I just want to do concentration camps, bro.
Police.
It's
we have
fine.
great law enforcement,
Chill.
but they're not allowed to do their job. They have to be able to do their job without being destroyed.
Well, absolutely, and it's obviously demoralizing if you're a police officer risking your life to to arrest violent criminals who could kill you and do kill you sometimes.
This makes me blow a gasket, bro. The fact that we're just like the most pampered babies on the planet are the American police departments. Okay. Oh, they can't do their jobs because we don't respecting them enough. We already give them multiple billions, dude. What the fuck are you talking about?
Elon,
nothing's gonna happen.
Even worse, they
we need to double suck them. We need to double suck them. Every time you see a cop, you have to suck them. You literally have to get down on your hands and knees and go, "Thank you, sir. Thank you for everything you do."
I thought it was very telling, like incredibly telling, that when there was that case where sort of a gang of thugs beat up police officers. I think it was in Times Square in New York, and then nothing happened to those guys. They were let out, zero bail, and I think a bunch of them were given free tickets to California.
Oh my God, I can't believe they're still talking about this. Bro, the cops attacked them. They weren't even doing anything. That shit was fake outrage. What the fuck are you talking about?
This is insane. Like, have we lost all pride?
What are they supposed to do? Arrest them for doing nothing? Like, what the fuck?
I've never seen anything.
My brother is a cop, but okay. Bring him over. I'll suck his cock, dude. Bring your brother over here. I will suck his dick, dude. I'll suck the soul out of his dick, okay?
But I've never seen where these guys are standing in the middle of a big street, everybody watching them, and they're literally
bring him over here,
like punching, stand-up fighting. A police officer, there were two of them, and you had about six of these guys, and they're punching the hell out of them. And in their own country, they would be dead if they did that. They'd be shot. They would be shot instantly. And, they come from these countries, and it's taking them a while to realize that we don't do that in this country. But in their own country, if they stood on a street and had a fight with a police officer, they would be shot. There's no political correctness. And it's such a sad, it's such a sad thing to see. And that's the reason you have crime, by the way, because we don't do anything about it.
We just cannot have a situation where our police officers are beaten up on camera by
crime is down, historic lows, like unimaginable percentages. Homicide was the only thing that was up, and even that is down by like 40% in Philadelphia.
Well, we're going to change it, and we're going to get them out of the country. When I first got involved, they said you couldn't get them back to these countries. You couldn't take them back. In the case of Guatemala, El Salvador, some others, you couldn't get them back. And I said, really? Oh, you can't get them back? Because under Obama, he couldn't get them back. They'd fly him in, and they'd put planes on the runways in these countries so you couldn't land the plane. They'd bring them back. And the generals told me, sir, we can't bring them back. The countries won't accept MS-13 gang members. They won't accept them. And I said, really, how much do we pay these various countries in terms of economic aid, which is also somewhat ridiculous? And the answer was $750 million. I said, good. Tell them they're in default.
The FBI is
they're
woke
delinquent.
and gay.
We're not paying them anymore because they won't accept it. And you know what happened?
The FBI crime stats are both woke and gay.
We would be
Don't you know?
to take them back, sir. We would be honored. It was
just
so
like
easy.
when I use Department of Homeland Security data to talk about like immigrant apprehensions or CBP data for migrant crimes.
Thousands
it's
got
fake.
them out of here, and their countries
data
took
is
them
fake.
back.
If you look at the numbers, you're a nerd. You're a loser. You must be a libtard. What matters is vibes and fear and panic.
They wouldn't take them back for anybody. And now we have a problem because we have this guy, and they don't take him back anymore with Biden because they don't respect him.
It's just gotta be done. We just can't have, whether they're citizens or not citizens. We can't have, because they won't prosecute citizens either, not just illegals. So if you can't have violent, repeat violent offenders that are not that don't get incarcerated.
That's right.
Because they will obviously.
Bro is so horny to be racist. He can't even get his words
continue
out, dude.
to,
Oh my God, Elon.
hurt people. And I think where part of this comes from is that there's
crime.
And I do sort of consider myself liberal in some ways. I mean, it's just that you want to have empathy for people. Obviously, you want to have empathy for people. I totally agree with that. You want to have empathy, but you also have to have empathy for the victims of the criminals. And if you just have empathy for the criminals, it's actually shallow empathy. It's not real. You're not thinking. You're one layer deep.
That's the thing that Americans have too much of: empathy for criminals.
Incarcerate this person.
What are you saying, bro?
They might kill someone. They might rape someone. If you don't incarcerate them, you have to have empathy for the victims.
We have the highest percentage.
And there's
we
a
have the
lack
highest
of
prisoner
empathy for the
density per
victims
capita
of
on
the
the
criminals,
planet.
and too much empathy for the criminals.
25% of the entire planet's incarcerated is in the United States of America. We only make up 4% of the entire planet's population.
Shallow empathy.
Ridiculous.
And we have to give our police
imprison
officers the
so
dignity
much.
and the respect that they deserve. And we have to let them do their job. They can do a great job.
I love the idea that policing is shitty in this country, not because they're major babies that have qualified immunity and never get accountability, but because we're not respecting them enough. It is one of the things that frustrates me so much, because Americans also are so stupid and they love the police, even though they are literally so bad at their jobs. I want them to do their jobs. I want them to actually do their jobs. I want them to solve crimes. You know what I mean? That's what we're paying them for. But like this argument that policing sucks in this country now because we're not respecting them enough.
I really think that
it blows
the
my
USA
mind.
is stupid. They think we're run by stupid people, and they happen to be right. But when I was there, we had no problem. We got them out. We took out thousands of MS-13 gang members. We brought them back. And now, again, it's the same old story. We don't do it. And they actually gave them a big increase in aid. They raised it up to billions of dollars. They get nothing for it. So I hope everybody's going to vote for Trump, and we're going to get this country straight. Yeah. And I didn't need this. I didn't need this. I had a very nice life. I didn't need to go through court systems and go through all the other stuff and run at the same time. I have to run. I have to go through fake trials with, in some cases, corrupt judges, totally corrupt judges. I didn't need it. I had a nice life. I have great locations. I have beautiful oceans that I have places. But I felt it was important. And if I had to do it over again, you probably think I'm crazy for doing it, actually. But if I had to do it over again, I would have done it over again, because this is so much more important than me or my life. We're going to save this country. This country is going down. And these people are bad people that we're running against, and they're liars. They make statements. They do things that are so bad. Say they're going to make a strong border. They say they've been great on the border, and they've been the worst in history. They say they're going to stop crime.
Like, the facts speak for themselves.
It's so incredible.
Speak for themselves. Like it's got to the point where people just don't even bother reporting crime in a lot of cities because they know nothing is going to happen. That's what I hear anecdotally from people all the time. So it's just my values. I'm just saying to people out there, like the things I think are important for the future is like we've got to have.
He's so unbearable, dude. He is like he's lost all of his juice. He's lost all of his sauce.
We've got to have.
He's just like such an old, angry man, and now he has a lisp somehow. I don't know what happened there.
Projects that people.
He's just unbearable.
And that's the future I'm looking for. And I'm pro-environment.
It's great though, because I feel like everything that Trump touches is so toxic.
I don't think we should.
Hopefully, this will cause a lot of these like holdout centrist liberals who think Elon is brilliant to recognize that he definitely is not.
Reasonable speed towards a sustainable energy economy. Those are my values, and I think, and so I mean that's why I'm supporting you for president.
Well, I appreciate it. We're going to give incentive to companies to come into our country, not to leave our country. We're going to be giving tremendous incentives. We want companies to build here, not to build in other locations, and we want to create jobs. And again, it's about the American dream.
Something I'm fairly concerned about is Elon will 100% use his platform to call the elections a fraud when Trump loses and/or rig the election beforehand. Yeah, no, the fuck, he can't do that.
People, they need that incentive.
Bro, in order for him to be able to rig the elections by significant margins, he would need the platform to be able to function. He would need to be able to bring like actual liberals and normal people back onto the platform. Twitter's revenue has dropped 84%. Its user base has dropped significantly since Elon's takeover. There's no, like, he's running it into the ground.
Did so much, but I also learned the best people. I learned the good people, the smart people, the dumb people, the people that can do things, the people, you learn. When I first came in, I tell people I was in Washington, D.C. only 17 times, according to the fake news media. I was in 17 times. I never stayed over. And you don't know people. You rely on other people to give you names, and then you realize the people you relied on weren't so good. Now, we had great people, but we also had some where I wouldn't have, used them had I known. Now I know everybody. And I think we're going to really turn things around fast. We have no choice.
Everything Trump says Biden did to America, Elon has actually done to Twitter. It's also what Trump wants to do to America. This is why I always use the example, like what Elon Musk has done to Twitter is a perfect demonstration of what right-wingers do in general. Like, Twitter sucked. It was run by a liberal, but at least it worked. You know what I mean? It sucked. There was a lot of issues, but at least it worked. It wasn't like a Nazi-infested shithole where like pedophiles were posting CSAM and then like the billionaire baby who was a rabid sociopathic Nazi wasn't personally restoring the accounts of like dudes who were distributing CSAM, child sexual abuse material. Like, that's what he did. That's what Elon Musk did. So that's the difference. Like, yeah, Democrats suck. Ultimately, there's like a basic level of competency that they demonstrate. They keep the federal agencies going. Republicans come in and they just destroy everything.
And I hope you got a lot of viewers. I hear you got a lot.
Let us hear them talk, please, bro. They're saying goodbye to each other like lovers.
I know you got a lot of them. So
who can't hang up the phone first for the past 25 minutes.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Elon. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. I'm still in the space. Let's see if anything else happens. They kept doing, no, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. Thank you, Elon. One man's weakness, another man's strength. That the person who finally says no borders is absolutely strongest because of the inevitable backlash. Yeah. No mention of J.D. Vance, by the way. That was crazy. I could hear Trump's fat ass clapping on the phone. Dude, I think there's something very funny about the cognitive dissonance that right-wingers display on a regular basis where they talk about like elites, right? Bi-coastal elites, but then they love Donald Trump. They think he's like the greatest gift of all time to the average everyday working man. They also literally keep talking about like big pharma and how devastating that is and how scary like big billionaire elites, society elites are. But then they glaze Elon Musk. Elon Musk is literally trying to put a chip in your brain, dude. And honestly, you kind of deserve it. Like, you deserve to live in the Elon Musk dystopia where your brain is goddamn chipped by him.